The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig, decked out in his Tennessee orange because he loves his Tennessee softball.
I do love my I've said it before. Everyone knows I'm a Georgia Tech fan, and that'll never change. But come softball season, there are so many friends and connections I have out there that I like to support a plethora of teams, and today is Tennessee. I love the Weeklies. They're good friends of mine, and Aaron Gabriel obviously went to Tennessee, and that got me kind of locked into that program. So they're doing good things. They're ranked 20th in the country right now, and go Vols.
Yeah, Aaron Gabriel had a really nice career at Tennessee.
On this day 4 or 5 years ago, he threw a perfect game for Tennessee. So
There you go.
there you go.
Yeah, that's it. All right, speaking of softball, we do have, it's Thursday, and, well, we're on the precipice of starting a spring sports season, which would be softball and baseball. Tomorrow it all gets underway, limited action. We will have Steve Ward on. He is the head softball coach at Austintown Fitch. We will have Coach Ward on at 2 o'clock, and then Fred Moots, friend of the show from Boardman. Coach Moots will be on at 2:30 to talk about the Spartan softball team. And every Thursday between now and the end of softball season, we'll have some softball coaches on, and we won't have softball questions. We're going to have hardball questions to our softball coaches.
I'll just say we'll have fast pitch questions.
There you go.
That?
Fast pitch questions.
All right.
There you go.
Not your rec league slow pitch softball questions, but your 70-mile-an-hour rise ball fast pitch questions. All right, that's what we're gonna do.
Indeed. So watch for that today on the program. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of things to talk about, as we mentioned. Tomorrow is the start of the high school baseball and softball season. We can certainly talk a little bit about that. Youngstown State's women's basketball program is in the news. We had a plethora of kids leaving the program. Well, now it's about time that we get some kids coming into the program, and John Barnes has picked up 3 Division I transfers for the 2021-2022 campaign.
Yeah, and I'm excited about these transfers. I think they each bring a little bit of something new, and obviously, the Penguins have a lot to kind of try to replace with so many transfers coming out. But I think these 3, especially the girl from Robert Morris, Megan Callahan, she's gonna bring something special. I don't know. Did they play? They played at Robert Morris, so you didn't get to see them play Callahan in person. But she's got a lot of tools to the trade. I think she's going to bring a lot. She's very versatile for the Penguins, so I'm excited to see her in a Penguin uniform.
Yeah, she'll be a graduate transfer. She finished her Robert Morris career, played 4 years at Robert Morris. She ranked 8th all-time with a .367 three-point percentage. So that means she's hitting on 36.7% of her three-point shots. I'll take that. 110 three-pointers made in 88 games for Robert Morris. She started 32 games as a true freshman in 2017-2018, averaged a career best 9 points. She's not going to get a lot of points per game, but she's someone that can consistently hit a three-point shot, and that's a perfect fit in the John Barnes offense where he preaches the inside-outside game.
Plus, she's a pretty dang good defender, and John Barnes is so high on his defense, and it's so much of an emphasis of what he does. And she moves with her feet really well. She's got quick hands. So she's not going to be someone that you put in and or is a liability on defense. So I think she'll fit, and I think Paige Shy from Marshall will also fit into this mold pretty well too. I haven't seen the third one. I mean, she was from a little bit of an unknown team. I haven't seen her on film. But
yeah, Lindsay Mack is a 5'10 guard, 3 years at Fairleigh Dickinson. Last year, she averaged 8.3 points, 2.4 rebounds, 41 three-pointers in 21 games for the Knights.
So if you thought the Penguins were going to stop with their perimeter attack...
No. That's it's a staple of what Coach Barnes does. He loves to make sure that the post is first and foremost, and then when teams start collapsing the post, that's when you kick it outside and start the three-ball train.
But see, the thing, they lost a lot of their post presence because Mary Dunn left and Obiizer left, and now they're sitting there with a bunch of guards and transfer, which is interesting. It's going to work. They're going to fit. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, oh, I thought you were going to get a post.
Well, they did get a 5'10 forward.
Right.
So I don't know if Shy's going to be the post that everyone wants her to be because she's only 5'10. You got to get someone 6'1", 6'2".
She'll be that girl you put in the high post a little bit, maybe play a little bit from there, high-low action. But, yeah, you're right. She can do some stuff. But 5'10", for the Horizon League, that's not big enough to go into the block.
No, you're gonna basically,
especially against Wright State.
Yeah, well, boy, no kidding. Wow. By the way, they got demolished.
They did,
but they played well for 2.5 quarters.
Their defense still played well. Their offense didn't show up.
Wow, that's because it's because the team they played some serious defense. Holy crap, were they good?
Yeah, Missouri State, like I said on Wednesday, yesterday, I should say, because today is Thursday. Whoa. Days slip away from you real quick.
Yeah, no kidding.
But they're a program that's on the rise. Everyone, Missouri State? What?
Yeah.
But they're a 5 seed for a reason. They're a program on the rise. They won a couple of tournament games in the last tournament we had to get to the Sweet 16. Their coach obviously moved on and went to coach Tennessee. So now, they're still a program that's very much on the rise. They play excellent defense. We saw that against Wright State. And they have a legitimate shot to give Stanford a little bit of a scare, but they're obviously going up against an overall number 1 seed. That'll be a tough. Tough test.
It'll be difficult. But for Wright State, it was the equivalent of what Youngstown State did. Their second trip to the NCAA tournament, they upset the first round opponent and then played a decent game for about 2.5 quarters. Played well enough to win for about 2.5 quarters, and then they just got blown out of the gym after that. And it reminded me of Youngstown State, the second trip to the NCAA tournament in the late 90s. They upset Memphis in the first round, and then went up against North Carolina State in the second round. Looked good for about a half, and then North Carolina State just absolutely blew them out of the gym in the second half. So but that's part of the process of growing up, and Wright State's not going anywhere anytime soon. They're going to be an unbelievably tough basketball team once again next year in the Horizon League.
The reality is for Wright State and for YSU, it's hard to go back to back in the grind going up against this kind of competition. You're not used to it because the Horizon League has maybe one other team that can compare to what you're going to see in the NCAA tournament. You know what I'm saying? That competition level.
And that's
so, you go in, you play Arkansas, and then 2 days later, you got to play a 5 seed at Missouri State. Wright State just wasn't used to that kind of grind, and I think it wore on them, especially in the third quarter.
And I think that's where next year, and not just Wright State, I think a lot of teams on the Horizon League should definitely look at playing multiple Power 5 conference teams in their non-conference.
If they can pull it off, going to one of those preseason tournaments where you're playing over a weekend would really benefit, because then your players would get used to the high-quality competition, but you'd be playing them one day after the next. So you wouldn't be like playing Arkansas and then 3 or 4 weeks later, hey, we're playing Purdue. We're playing Arkansas tonight, and then tomorrow night we're playing West Virginia, and then tomorrow night we're playing Missouri State. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing where it's boom, 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 boom.
That's and one of those tournaments. I mean, it would be ideal. It's just trying to get a mid-major into one of those tournaments.
I think Wright State probably earned a lot of respect beating Arkansas, so maybe one of these tournaments will be like, hey, you're one of the mid-majors that we think can come down and make some noise in our tournament. Usually those tournaments have like 2 or 3 Power 5s, but then 1 or 2 mid-majors in there. So Wright State might have earned enough respect with that first-round win over the 4-seed Arkansas to be like, hey, come on to Maui. We'll be the Maui Invitational.
Yeah,
we can do that. Or
that would be fantastic.
The opening season NIT tournament in the Madison Square Garden that both the men and women have. So
absolutely.
Either way, I mean, something like that. The Wright State can try to find, or Youngstown State, or anyone in the Horizon League. They just got to find a way to get solid competition consistently throughout a weekend.
And truth be told, that's what Youngstown State is shooting for. I mean, that's the goal of every single team in the Horizon League. In Youngstown State, we were all hoping that Nneka Obiizer would be hanging around for a few years. Unfortunately, she's gone, but retooling at Youngstown State, and it's good to see that they do have a trio of kids coming into the fold.
I'm very interested to see where Nneka Obiizer goes.
I think she's going to stay home and go to Minnesota.
See, I would, but then I got my eyes open to how good the Big Ten is in women's basketball. Like, I didn't really know.
Yeah.
But watching this tournament, the Big Ten is legit in women's basketball. You got Michigan in there that upset Tennessee to get to the Sweet 16. Indiana played a solid game. Iowa has, Caitlin Clark, who's not going anywhere for a while, so you'd have to go up against her twice a year.
Well, at least the women in the Big Ten know how to play basketball in the tournaments, because the guys sure don't. We got one team left, Michigan, and Michigan might be able to get past Florida State. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
There are 5 players from the state of Ohio that are going to be playing in the Sweet 16.
Nice.
And 4 out of 5 of them are starters. So the state of Ohio has a lot of talent in it. And I think they're just showing off it. Even Naj Hamilton from Michigan, who's dominating this tournament, is from Ohio. So,
yeah.
A lot of Toledo Rogers girls in the tournament, and I think Ohio's kind of showing off their talent in women's basketball.
That's good. That's real solid. Speaking of Ohio, E.J. Liddell, he has been speaking out against social media after the crap that he had to deal with when Ohio State was upset by Oral Roberts. I had an opportunity to see some of the filth that was in his Twitter account. Just some of the people that randomly just said some of the most vile and disgusting things, all because he didn't have a, quote, good game. And in the loss to Oral Roberts, to which I'm thinking to myself, and I said this on Monday, I don't understand why people would be this horrible when it comes to trying to crucify a kid who had a bad game. Really? It's just a friggin' game, for God's sake.
The why is hard to wrap your head around, because obviously people that act like that don't hold themselves to the same standards and moral grounds that the other people do. So I never ask why, but the reason how and how it's so easy is because there's no accountability for it on social media.
Oh no, absolutely.
Someone can call you out on Twitter if they see it, but then who cares? They're not at you. They can't physically do anything to you. So there's no really accountability. Now, there might be, because someone put a death threat on them, so that might be some physical accountability for that. But for the most part, when you insult someone on Twitter and you don't threaten their life, but you insult them, there's no accountability to that. You can be flagged maybe by Twitter, but in the long run, you can just make another Twitter account. So there's really no accountability for making those kind of statements on social media, and that makes a lot of people kind of free up to say the things that they say.
And I have no problem with barbs back and forth, but when you start calling someone,
you can tell the difference when it makes it personal.
Yeah, when you start calling someone a name that probably shouldn't be called in any way, shape, or form, and then start going after the kid's family, and then start making death threats, that's when law enforcement should be checking in on this, and hopefully they get the person and prosecute the person or people to the fullest extent of the law. I've never understood.
So what did Lydell have to say? Because I didn't know that he came out and talked about it. So do you have like a quote? Or?
He had a video call with reporters. This is his quote. "I just wanted to use my voice a little bit. I've been quiet about it, and I just keep pushing because I have pretty tough skin when it comes to criticism. But that wasn't constructive criticism. It was just brutal, hardcore. Just didn't sit right with me." The rant with Liddell, multiple rants, but one in particular ended with, "I hope you die." Really? Over a game? Just because the kid didn't have a game, you honestly want this person to die? Liddell continued, "I still don't understand why anybody would come at me like that. I definitely haven't hurt anybody in my life like that. For those words to be said about me." I don't get it.
It's heartbreaking, but that right there is the positive of social media, because now Lydell has a voice, and he can voice himself. Back in the day, if you came at someone like that and it hurt them to that extent, all they could do was talk to their circle of influence.
Sure.
But Lydell can go in and be a beacon to all the other athletes that might have to deal with this kind of post. It probably happens a lot more than we know it does.
Oh, absolutely, it does.
Not just to Ohio State it probably happens a lot. Like, people probably get, not death threats, but people get hammered on social media a lot.
Absolutely.
So Lydell has the opportunity to use social media for a positive and kind of be the beacon of light and be the influence to those people that are going through getting hammered on social media.
Yeah, and again, let me just reemphasize, it's okay, and I have no problem if someone says, "Hey, you didn't play a really good game." No kidding. Of course I didn't play a good game. But when you start throwing down insults that call someone an ugly name,
right? You can
go after their family, tell the person that you hope they die, or even worse, threaten to kill the person. Yeah, you not only should your Twitter account be taken away, you should probably be seeking mental health, and hopefully the police is arresting your stupid ass for doing something like this.
It's social media is a crazy world, man. We said on Wednesday when we were talking about it, it's a tool, and you can use it really well, and Lydell has the chance to do it, and he's obviously doing it, but it's also a tool that you can misuse. And I used the analogy of a hammer. If you use a hammer wrong, you're going to pop yourself in the thumb.
Yeah.
You use social media wrong, it's going to have lasting consequences. And we've seen that with athletes that are looking to get scholarships. If you tweet something wrong, those coaches are going to see it.
No, most definitely.
And even if you delete it, the screenshots, you can't delete screenshots.
Yep.
So social media tool, you can use it well, you can use it not well. And unfortunately for Lydell, he had to be exposed to some people that were definitely not using it the right way.
Yeah, I would hope that most of the people that are sports fans really don't go off the deep end over a game.
I haven't seen, but I hope that he had an outpouring of social media support.
I would hope so.
Like from the Buckeye fans that are actually legitimate fans.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, when you're rooting for a college team, you're rooting for those players are still kids. They're 18 to 22 years old, and you should be for them and support them, and not just you're winning. What have you done for me lately? That's more of a professional kind of thing, because there's free agency and all that. But with college kids, when I'm rooting for someone, I feel like I'm there to support and to encourage, not to criticize. I'll leave that up to the coach. If they had a bad game and I want to coach that, I don't coach people on social media.
Yeah.
So I hope that the Buckeye fans that get that kind of memo really showed up for that young man.
I felt horrible for this kid. I mean, I'm reading some of this stuff. I'm like, you got to be kidding me with some of this. I mean, it's first of all, 99.9% of the people that are saying this can't do half of or a tenth of what he does on the basketball floor. So your opinion's irrelevant from that regard. But then for someone to sit back and really just destroy this kid through verbal names or other entities,
Let's
that
be
just come on.
Lydell's a big boy. If you said that to his face,
you would probably get pounded.
You wouldn't do it because there aren't too many people that have the cojones to kind of stand in front of a guy like that and say the things they said on social media.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's the downside, unfortunately, of social media. You have keyboard warriors that they know that, hey, I'm not going to be able to get away, or I'm not going to be able to, or I won't ever confront this person, so I can essentially say anything I want.
There are positives to everyone having a voice with social media, but, it's a double-edged sword. Everyone has a voice, which means everyone has a voice, not just the people that are trying to use it for a positive impact, but the people that want to use it in a negative way, they have a voice on social media too, and that's, double-edged sword.
Yeah, no question. I'd love to hear people's opinion on this. 330-886-0813. And not just social media in general, but how long does it take for someone to get over a loss or not be as pissed off about a loss or a player's performance? I mean,
that's more applicable. Like how much do you hold on to a player that made a mistake in a game?
Yeah.
And you're gonna focus on the rage for that.
Yeah.
Like, I hate bringing up like Chiefs examples because then I sound like a homer, like I'm always going to talk about.
No, it's all right. I mean, it's your team.
But when the D Ford lined up off sides and it cost us the game-winning interception in the 18 AFC Championship game against New England, Tom Brady threw a pick. It was game over.
Sure.
And he lined up off sides.
Yep. I remember that.
I was mad at him until I saw the video. Like the mic'd up after, like a week after, where the look on his face when someone told him on the sidelines, yeah, you were lined up off sides. Like, that just makes it real.
Yeah.
Like he didn't want to line up off sides.
Of course not.
He knows what he did. Like, what's me being upset at him for doing that or pounding him in the ground for doing that going to add to what he already feels?
Well, here's the best example for Bills fans is Scott Norwood.
Right, Scott.
Scott Norwood misses a 47-yard field goal, wide right, Super Bowl 25 against the New York Giants. Well, look, first of all,
we all make jokes, but the guy's got to live it down a bit.
Scott Norwood on grass was a below-average kicker, and everyone knew this coming into the Super Bowl, that he was not very accurate outside of 40 yards on grass, and Buffalo doesn't play their games on grass. They have artificial turf. So, everyone wanted to just pick on Scott Norwood, and he's become the butt of a lot of Buffalo 0 for 4 jokes. But the reality is, he kicked a 47-yard field goals are not gimmies, and they aren't today. They sure as hell weren't 26, 27 years ago. So, all right, hey, you missed a field goal. Ernest Biner fumbling in the 1987 AFC Championship game against Denver. If it's not for Ernest Biner and Bernie Kosar in the second half,
there wouldn't even be a game.
There's not even a game. So anyone that and look, I mean, I was pissed when I saw Biner fumble the ball because he had a history of fumbling. But good Lord, if it wasn't for Biner in the second half, he played his ass off in the second half. Cleveland wouldn't have been in that situation.
Imagine what Buckner had to go through when that ball went through his legs.
There's a great example. I mean, Boston fans were just merciless toward this guy. And here's the crazy part of it. Everyone thinks, well, you cost us the World Series. Are you kidding me? That was just Game 6.
Right.
You had a lead in Game 7. You had a lead going into the bottom of the 5th inning in Game 7. Don't hang this on Bill Buckner. Are you serious?
And I watched the video, and it's like 99 times out of 100 he makes that play. It's just I can't even explain what happened. It just went right under his glove. It's like one of those fluke things where it just whoop.
Yep. It is what it is. And, unfortunately, some people literally take it to the grave. Donnie Moore in the 86, the same year, the 86 ALCS, the Angels were one strike away from eliminating Boston. Donnie Moore, the Angels closer, gave up a home run to David Henderson. Boston turned around, won the series. Donnie Moore never let that go. He wound up blowing his brains out. I mean, that's so, and that was before Twitter. Could you imagine?
Well, see, before Twitter, it must, to an extent, it had to be kind of harder because then the people that got to your face. So you couldn't just turn off the screen.
And I don't think that many people got to them, but I think that when they went to the ballpark,
back in the day, I mean, it wasn't hard to get someone's phone number. They probably got calls. They probably got people that would find them in their house and put,
Sure.
So with Twitter, the good thing about social media is Lydell can just turn off his phone and walk away from his Twitter for a while, and then he doesn't have to be. He just have to see it.
Yeah.
But back before social media, one of the things was with the people that did get to you. Not as many people could get to you without social media, but the people that did, you can't just walk away from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it had to have a little bit more of a sting.
Buckner was here a couple of years before he passed away. He was here, and when Boston won their World Series championship in 2004, that's when the city finally grew up and realized, oh man, we better forgive this kid. What, you think? 18 years after the fact?
They invited him back, right?
Yeah.
And I think I saw an interview where he was kind of iffy. Like he wanted to forgive Boston, but it was hard to forgive Boston.
Yeah, exactly. It just I don't understand that mentality aspect of it. I really don't.
The poor fan that caught a foul ball for I forget his name, the Cubs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was just reacting like every fan would. He was going to catch a foul ball. Yeah, he went over the rail and he caught it ahead of the player.
Yeah, ahead of Felipe Alou. Moises Alou. I'm sorry.
But he doesn't deserve to be shunned and crucified for it.
Well, again, this was yet another Game 6 scenario where, hey, the Cubs were actually needing to play one more game and could have played one more game. And
another Game 6 scenario, St. Louis Cardinal fans can't let go of the missed call in the 85 series.
Oh, God.
Guess what? It was Game 6. You had Game 7, the Royals blew you out.
Yeah, Joaquin Andujar had a meltdown on the pitcher's mound, and then when he was taken out of the ball game, he got thrown out of the game. He just lost his mind on the pitcher's mound. It was hilarious. And the Royals just absolutely steamrolled the Cardinals in Game 7. But again, it just.
Was it a missed call? Absolutely, it was. But,
and he got all kinds of abuse.
Right.
And for years afterward, he got abuse from Cardinals fans, to the point where they look. Don't send him to St. Louis. Just don't let him play or umpire a game at Busch Stadium because they're just going to be merciless on him.
Why tempt fate?
Yeah, exactly. So that's how that turned out. It's sad that people can't let go of
another idea of a double-edged sword. We love the passion that sports brings, but
that's too much.
But it has this double-edged sword where some people take it too far, and they literally live and die off each pitch, and a pitch doesn't go their way.
Yeah,
it morphs into
the guy you're talking about with the Cubs was Steve Bartman.
Right.
Yeah, and Bartman didn't do anything wrong, or at least he didn't do anything that a fan wouldn't have done. I mean, now, truth be told,
he did reach over the wall, right? Which technically you're not supposed to.
Technically, no. I mean, technically, he kind of sort of did. And I think Moises Alou was freaking out because he drew a beat on the ball and looked like he was going to be able to make the catch. It would have been a difficult catch. And Bartman was kind of like doing one of these numbers. But any fan would have done that because, look, I mean, I would like to sit back and say, okay, I'm gonna make sure that I'm staying away so that my guy on the field can make the catch. But if somebody shot some truth serum into me, I don't know if I could be able to do that. The lure of getting an AL or an NLCS ball, which by the way might be a ball worth something because the Cubs had never won or had never gone to the World Series since 1945, and they were on the precipice of doing that. This ball could have been worth a whole lot of money. I would have probably done the same thing.
And imagine the hero he would have been if it was the other team and he caught it.
Oh, of course.
Oh man, great! You stole it from him.
Yeah. The hero the great example of that is that 14-year-old punk from New York that literally went over the wall, grabbed the ball, and stole a home run for the Yankees in the ALCS against Baltimore. And this kid probably doesn't have to buy another drink in New York ever again because he's part of Yankee lore. And of course, he was 14 at the time, but this was almost 30 years ago when he did this.
Right.
And the Orioles fans are still pissed at him. No, I mean, he was 14, but I mean,
he lives in New York. He doesn't have to worry about it.
He doesn't have to worry about any of that stuff. I don't know. I mean, when do you say uncle with the you lost the game for us? For me, it's by Monday I'm pretty much all right, whatever. Josh Allen was terrible in the championship game against Kansas City, and I was pissed at him the whole game. But then after the game was over and Buffalo lost, I was just like, you know what? Hey, it's part of a growing process. It is what it is.
The funny thing is, I was going through Twitter during the playoff run, and I don't know how this happened because you follow me. I never say anything to people that would be offensive or anything.
Yeah.
I don't call athletes
No,
out.
God, no.
Tyrann Mathieu has me blocked on Twitter.
How did this happen?
No idea why. Maybe someone tagged me in a tweet that was added to him. I just
okay.
I went to because someone you can't search for him if you're blocked, but someone quoted his tweet or something. And I was like, I want to retweet his actual tweet.
Yeah.
And I went to it and I was like, I can't even get to it, and it's like Tyrann Mathieu
blocked. Okay, what the hell? How did I get blocked?
I have your jersey, buddy. Come on. Cut deep. Deep.
Yeah, he's the block Nazi.
Honey Badger cut deep. I mean, we call him the landlord, and he said no rent for Anthony. So, dang.
No tweet for you.
No tweet for you.
You can't quote me. No tweet for you. Come back in 2 years.
2 years.
330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business.
I'm a mean person.
Stop if you've heard this one. Jadeveon Clowney is visiting Cleveland. This is the second straight year that Clowney will make a visit to Cleveland. And
I always thought he was a little bit overrated.
Can I just say that he is the most overrated defensive lineman in the National Football League?
He's good. He can make plays. But I thought he got so much hype over that tackle against Michigan.
Thank you very much.
That was unwarranted because he was unblocked. And I feel like anyone could have gone and made that big hit. Because no one blocked him, and he had a beeline right to the running back.
And I think that the fact that he knocked a guy's helmet off from Michigan, it was a highlight reel play.
And we saw it for months.
Sure.
But at the same time, it was like he was literally untouched to the running back.
If I were to sit back and say, this guy has never had a double-digit sack for a season in his entire career, and most of his career, he has been on the other side of arguably the best defensive player in the last decade. You can make the argument that J.J. Watt and the defensive tackle Aaron Donald from the Los Angeles Rams are the two biggest defensive players in the National Football League over the last 10 years. You can make that argument. Jadeveon Clowney has spent most of his career opposite of J.J. Watt, and yet he never got very close, except for 1 year, to getting double-digit sacks, which tells me you're not all that good. I'm sorry, you're just not all that good.
And another reason for that is he's injury prone. I mean, you feel like every year he gets something that's tweaked out. He's missing a couple games here and there, so he's got some injuries on him.
Yeah, well, he's coming off of a major knee injury, in which 8 games.
I wouldn't touch him if I was Cleveland.
Knee surgery. Signed a $14 million deal last year with the Tennessee Titans.
Did nothing.
For $14 million, Tennessee got zippity-doo-dah in sacks in 8 games. I'm sorry, and as much as the Browns need someone opposite of Myles Garrett, Olivier Vernon's a better player than Jadeveon Clowney, and you guys and Olivier Vernon's not all that good either. So I'm just saying, this guy, Jadeveon Clowney steals money from people. His image has been based on one tackle in which he was unblocked and made a sick highlight reel tackle, knocking a guy's helmet off for Michigan. And I swear, Ohio State fans look at this, and Ohio State fans are mainly Browns fans,
right? And
they're looking at this going, "Oh, this guy's awesome. This guy's, look what he did against Michigan. Oh my God, this guy's ridiculous." And you see this play over and over and over again. I'm like, can we find another play other than this play that he did? Oh, by the way, in college, can we find something that he's done close to this in the National Football League? Because I'm pretty sure that we don't have anything anywhere close to that in the National Football League. He's good, but he's not $14 million good.
This ain't it, Cleveland.
Ain't it. Get a guy in the draft. First of all, you'll save a lot of money, and he'll be under your authority, club authority, for 3, 4, 5 years.
Second of all, there's a lot of good defenders in the draft that you can get. It's a deep draft when it comes to defensive linemen.
I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. So. I don't understand the fascination with Jadeveon Clowney. I really don't.
It's a Cleveland thing.
I mean,
it's Cleveland.
Hopefully the Browns don't make that mistake, because that is going to be a big old mistake. Because look, and no disrespect to Myles Garrett, he ain't J.J. Watt. And if Clowney was not producing opposite of J.J. Watt,
and opposite of Aaron Donald.
He didn't have Aaron Donald because
I thought you were.
Yeah, but Donald and Watt are the benchmark for defensive players.
I was going to say I don't remember him as a Ram.
Yeah, no. He played for the Seahawks, but he didn't. Okay. If he's not producing opposite of J.J. Watt when he was younger, he ain't going to produce opposite of Myles Garrett, because Myles Garrett ain't J.J. Watt. So just throwing that out there. I think this is a bad move by Cleveland if they decide to try to give him some money. I don't understand the fascination at all. I don't get it. I wanted to throw this out because not many folks would recognize the name. Bob Lewis passed away. He had been dealing with lung cancer for the last few years. Bob Lewis is one of the best amateur golfers to ever come through the pike in the Mahoning Valley. He's a Warren native, just an unbelievable amateur career in the United States. Passed away at the age of 76. He left the area years ago. He was in the Cleveland suburbs. I think Pepper Pike was where he was. He'd had lung cancer for the last few years. When I was a kid and in my 20s, Bob Lewis was consistently winning amateur opens in the state of Ohio. He was just consistently winning year after year after. And I always wondered why he never turned pro. Because he had an unbelievable golf game.
Because he was winning amateur.
There you go. Well, he went into the Ohio Golf Association Hall of Fame. Clearly, he was really, really good at what he did. But he passed away yesterday at the age of 76. Actually, Tuesday he passed away at the age of 76. Really good golfer, and a guy that had ties to the Mahoning Valley. So just a outstanding golfer. All right, 330-886-0813. Speaking of golf, we had Brian Tolnar on yesterday, and we were talking about match play, to which I feel like I'm much more knowledgeable about the match play scenarios and whatnot. Jason Kokrak had played his first round against Will Zalatoris and wound up beating him by 1 hole. He won the 17th hole to tie him and won the 18th hole to beat him. He has just started his match with Dylan Fratelli, who absolutely abused Tony Finau. Oh, yeah. Beat him like a rented mule yesterday. And Kokrak is already up 1 through 2 holes. So it's early on, but if Jason can get a victory today against Dylan Fratelli, there is a really good chance that Jason Kokrak is advancing to the round of 16. I'm just throwing that out there. I think that would be cool for him to do that. He's
125 to 1 odds to win.
125 to 1 odds. $10 bets, $1,250. I'm just.
That's a lot of return for not a lot of give.
That's some really good value. I'm just saying, that's some really good value. All right, 330-886-0813. We've got lots of stuff to talk about. We will be back with more Running Point. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We'll take your calls in a bit. Stick around, more to come.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside the Natalie-clad Tennessee volunteer guy, Anthony Hartwig.
How are you doing, Ron?
You look good there, son. You look good in the orange of Tennessee.
Wish that I was on a Rocky Top.
Yeah. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. It is trade deadline day in the NBA. Cavaliers today, this morning, about an hour ago, dealing JaVale McGee to the Nuggets for Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 future second-round draft picks. Hartenstein is a 7-foot center who started his career with the Houston Rockets, was traded to Denver. I think he's 22. A lot of upside with a kid, but a lot of green around Hartenstein. A lot of green around this kid as well. But apparently he can. He has a nice shot, and he has a really large motor. It's just trying to get him to play a consistent NBA caliber basketball is probably going to take some time, but not a bad kid.
Nuggets are making moves because they also just got Aaron Gordon from the Magic, so they're trying to make a run and try to make some moves in the West.
And there's talk of Drummond going to either New York or Boston, so we'll see what happens there. I don't know if they're going to be able to get anything for Drummond. I think that might be one of those.
Probably not a lot.
Yeah, I think that might be one of those. Here's a buyout, and we'll just go from there. To which I'm going to be even more pissed off at the organization.
It's a pretty big buyout
because you didn't play him. I mean, for me, I would have just as soon rather said, "Hey, look, let's play this guy. Let's see what he brings to the table. Let's see if he can improve his draft or improve his trade stock, and then get something for him." And, I don't know, maybe if you would have played him, they would have won a few more games, and maybe you'd still be in playoff contention. I'm just saying, I wasn't a big fan of not playing Andre Drummond. I wasn't a fan of that at all. So, but they didn't, so it is what it is.
Welcome to the Cavs.
Yeah, it is what it is. So Drummond, I'm sure he's going to be looking at a couple of places. Larry Nance Jr. is a guy that's gotten a whole lot of attention, and rightfully so. The Cavaliers have said, we're not interested in trading him. And they shouldn't be interested in trading him, because if you're going to have a team that you believe is somewhat going to be a contender in the year or two, Nance Jr. is young enough, and he's under contract for another 4 years. He could be part of a playoff run for the Cavs.
Everybody has their price, but the price for him would have to be pretty high.
I would agree with that. A lottery pick is the first part of that, and I would probably want 1 or 2 young kids attached with that. But hopefully they don't trade him. Hopefully they don't trade him away. You made mention Aaron Gordon got dealt to the Nuggets. Gary Harris going to the Orlando Magic along with a first-round pick and R.J. Hampton. So Denver, with LeBron James being hurt, Denver's trying to
it was like a
sneak in the back door.
Let's go.
Utah is another team that I think should be getting busy.
I like Utah. I think they got some pieces that can really make a run if the Lakers aren't at full capacity.
Yeah, so we'll be updating to see if the Cavaliers decide that they want to trade any more players. But JaVale McGee goes to the Denver Nuggets for Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 second-round draft picks, and we'll see if anything else emerges out of the Cavaliers on the last day of the NBA trade deadline. I'm going to say something like a few days ago I speculated on this, and I think it was on a Tuesday. You weren't here. I want to bounce this off of you. Now, you have had the opportunity to be vaccinated up, so you don't seem to be growing a third
I'm not
head.
a pod person yet.
Yeah,
I've checked my tongue. There's no fur. We're all good.
And I don't think that any computers are inside your body.
No, and I also haven't been getting radio signals from my teeth either.
Yeah.
So Lucille Ball, whatever she had, I don't have.
Okay, so that I just wanted to make sure of that. I brought this up on Tuesday, and I don't have any information. It's just I think it's more of a feeling, a gut feeling. I have a gut feeling that when Major League Baseball starts expanding the the attendance when the National Football League, and the classic example is going to be the draft coming up next month in Cleveland. I have a strange feeling that those who have their vaccination cards are going to be in the front of the line to get the tickets. And they're going to not make a big deal of it, but they're going to essentially say, those that are vaccinated, you get a first-come, first-served basis. Those that are not vaccinated, you're not going to get the first-come, first-served quite yet. Maybe I'm off on this. I have a feeling that those that are getting the vaccination are going to ultimately go to places in sporting events that the non-vaccinated crowd won't be able to go to.
Well, I don't think they'll ever be able to say you can't come if you're not vaccinated.
Yeah.
So that's off the tape. They're not going to. There are things that you can force people to be vaccinated for to get, but going to a sporting event is not one of them. Because we all have to be vaccinated to go to public school, stuff like that. You're gonna see a little bit. There are probably gonna be some jobs that require you to be vaccinated to get. But as far as going to a sporting event, I don't think they'll ever get to the point where they can say, if you're not vaccinated, you're not coming. Period. And so if that's the case, I don't know if they can be like, hey, if you're vaccinated, we're going to treat you a little bit special and we're going to give you this spot. And then if there's enough of you vaccinated, then the people that aren't vaccinated, you're just out of luck because there aren't enough tickets for you.
I'm just wondering, and I hope I'm wrong on this, by the way, but I'm just wondering if Major League Baseball's looking at this and saying...
There might be spots in the park that you can go that you can have access to if you have a vaccination card. The restaurant.
Yeah.
Things like that. Things that maybe they want to keep. They want to lax the social distancing regulations, but the only way to do that would be to say people that are already vaccinated can get in. But then you have to remember that the vaccination is not a cure or a bulletproof vest. You can still get COVID even if you're vaccinated. So you still have to be a little bit careful.
Sure.
It's just kind of a blanket that makes it a lot harder to get. So
with limited capacity, I'm wondering if Major League Baseball or the National Football League or any other professional league is going to look at this and say, since we have limited capacity, let's bring in those that have the vaccination. So in theory, although you're right on this, it's not 100%, but most of the vaccinations that people are doing is in the high 80s, low 90s% to making it effective. All right, still not 100%, but it's better than nothing. I'm wondering if Major League Baseball, we'll use them as an example because the season starts 1 week from today. I'm wondering if Major League Baseball is going to look at this and say, all right, since we're opening up the stadium's 25-30% capacity, let's really make ourselves safe by selling these tickets to those who have been vaccinated and go from there.
I don't know how that would look publicly.
It would look stupid publicly.
Right.
I mean, it really would.
Because let's just be real, there are a lot of people in the country that aren't comfortable with getting vaccinated at this moment. For whatever reason. They just, multiple reasons. Some of them understandable, some of them you're off on the crazy spectrum and you should go live in the woods. Everyone has a spectrum.
Rabbit hole.
There's a spectrum. But there are people that just aren't comfortable with getting vaccinated. So I don't think it would look good to say that because you're making that decision, which you have every right to make.
Well, it's their business.
I know. It's just...
Then
you have to wonder if all their workers will be required to be vaccinated to work in the
I
stadium.
got to believe that's going to be the case.
And then you also... Because when baseball starts, we won't have everyone vaccinations available for everyone.
Yeah.
In April. I mean, it's not going to be there yet.
I got to believe...
So we're a week away from opening day. Opening day is already limited capacity, right? They're starting on opening day. You can come to the park.
Yeah, and it's limited capacity.
So
but I got to believe
they've already started selling tickets, so they probably already solved this problem. They probably already said tickets are available. I don't know if they really said you have to be vaccinated to get a ticket.
Yeah.
So this might be a moot point because they've already opened up ticket sales.
Sure.
Obviously.
But I'm wondering further down the road. I'm wondering if that's going to be an issue. Maybe with the National Football League, I'm wondering if that's going to be an issue. Of course, a lot of the NFL teams are saying, hey, we're looking to go 100%.
The NFL has been much more cavalier, so I think they'd be the last league to require that.
Well, let's look at the NFL draft. I mean, they've already said the NFL draft, there's going to be places where the vaccinated folks are going to have first come, first serve, which I'm looking at that, I'm going, oh, wow, that's...
It's a dangerous slope, Ron. It really is.
It is. It's and look, I mean, in truth be told, the NFL, the Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, the NBA, all professional sports are a business. It's much the same as if you go to a place that says no shoes, no shirts, no service. A person that says, look, I mean, if you don't put a mask on, you're not allowed in my place of business. These are my rules, and that's the end of that. The sports world is the same way.
There are also limits to that rule. Like there are things that you, and I don't know where being vaccinated falls on this list, but there are things that you can't deny people service for.
I would hope that that's one of the things. I would hope that that's one of the things, but I'm wondering the mad rush that we have right now for everyone getting vaccinated. I'm wondering
if it starts with sports, then all of a sudden you're going to see, well, okay, this store you can't come in if you're not vaccinated, and then hey, this you can't use our water fountains if you're not vaccinated, or you can't use this. You know, it's a slope.
Yeah,
and slopes can get away from societies really quick.
Yeah, no kidding. We lived through that in a lot of years in this country. It was a certain race of people lived through that, which is just was maddening then.
Fear of this virus can really manifest into some. If we let it with the vaccination and everything, it can manifest into some dangerous.
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly, and I would hope that this would not come to pass because it would be stupid for business, number one, and it would turn a lot of people off.
It would sound like a ploy to try to force people to get vaccinated.
Exactly.
And that wouldn't be what the whole American system is about.
Exactly. I mean, it would be it wouldn't make any sense in any way, shape, or form. And I'm hoping that never comes about. Now, having said that, am I ready to sit next to someone in a sporting event?
Because then what if it gets to the slope where you have to identify in some way, shape, or form whether or not you're vaccinated?
Well, that's the reason why they're pulling those cards out.
You have to wear a card on your sleeve or whatever it may be to say to the public, "I am vaccinated." Well, so it's safe to sit next to me.
But isn't the fact that they have given you a card, they're going to give me a card when I get vaccinated? Isn't that the start of that?
It dang is. You're right, because now people can say, whatever situation, are you vaccinated? Yeah, I have proof I'm vaccinated.
Yeah.
But what that can turn into, if we're not careful, is you having to have that on you at all times to prove to everyone around you that you are vaccinated.
And I told my parents, because they're both in their 80s and they got vaccinated very early, and I told them, I said, you better laminate that. And they're looking at me, and I'm like, just do it. They go, why? I said, because you're going to need it. And that's why I brought up a couple of days ago, maybe from the sports world aspect, look, society's batshit crazy for a lot of reasons, but from a sports perspective, I have a bad feeling about this. It's show me your vaccination thing, and we'll give you a ticket. I hope it doesn't come to that. That would be absurd. And I don't know. I mean, it's just I have a bad feeling about that. Hope I'm wrong.
crazy thing about things like that, no one imagines that it's possible until it happens, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there like, how did this happen? But there are little red flags that in all you look at history, and in moments where when you line up in a reality like that, if you go 10 years or 20 years before, there are little red flags that people just miss.
Yeah.
And then they sit there and go, how did we end up in this situation? Well, because you weren't paying attention to the red flags.
Yeah, there you go.
And there are little red flags.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll take it at the end of the years that Modell moved the Browns in the mid-'90s. Everyone was like, we didn't see this coming. Really?
Really?
Go back about 5 or 6 years. He kept telling everyone, I want a new stadium. I want a new stadium. I want a new stadium. And everyone was just like, well, this stadium is nice. Well,
I got a new stadium in Baltimore.
Got a new stadium in Baltimore. See you later. So, I mean, I hate to break that wound open for Browns fans.
He didn't pull a Baltimore Colts and just escape in the middle of the night.
God! Wow.
We out.
Yeah. We're on the road with our Mayflower trucks.
Hey, where'd the Colts go?
They're in Indianapolis now. Oh wow. God, I remember that like it was yesterday. I wake up the next morning, I'm like, what are those Mayflower trucks doing in Indianapolis? Oh, yeah, the Colts left town last night. What?
Picked up and left, you know?
And they just left in the middle of the night. And then here comes these trucks at about 10 o'clock in the morning. What just happened here? 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning
That's
hotline.
why the Ravens have a
business.
barbed wire fence around their field, so no one can escape in the middle of the night.
Yeah, nobody's doing that again to Baltimore.
We're not fooling for that twice in Baltimore.
Well, I don't think that they'll be leaving anytime soon. That team is beloved in Baltimore big time. That's a boy. I can't wait for football to start. I know it's months ahead, but I can't wait for the NFL to start.
The Orioles aren't much to laugh about. So, well, they had a good year last year. So
they're gonna be better.
They surprised a lot of people. I want to see if they can capture lightning in a bottle twice this year.
They can
be respectable at least.
They got a kid. What's his last name? Mountcastle. Ryan Mountcastle.
What a name.
He is going to be a stud.
Mount the Castle, good sir.
Yeah, he's going to be a stud. He is a really good corner outfielder.
Would you say he's got keys to the Mount Castle?
I would say he's going to have the keys to the kingdom, the kingdom of Baltimore. And for those poor folks, I mean, Baltimore back in the day was every bit the baseball city St. Louis was. And then this knucklehead bought the Orioles and turned them into a heaping pile of garbage overnight, literally. But those people, they love baseball in Baltimore. That's a great baseball city, really is. That in St. Louis.
It's a really nice park too.
Oh, I love Camden Yards. That's
I haven't been to it, but it looks great on TV.
I got to be honest. I think PNC is better than Camden.
Yeah.
I think PNC is, if it's not the best park in Major League Baseball, I don't know which one beats it. Maybe San Francisco's ballpark, but I think PNC is. Oh God, I love that place. That's a beautiful ballpark. Cleveland's is nice, but you know.
It's not beautiful.
It's top 10, but it's nowhere close to PNC. That's PNC is it's a gold mine. It's a damn shame they don't have a very good team. But
you know me, I'm biased. I like the fountains.
The fountains are beautiful. Yeah, Royals. The ballpark is phenomenal.
I like the big screen with the crown on top.
Yeah,
crown vision.
Absolutely.
So
that's a nice place.
It was the biggest screen in the world for about a year, and then Jerry Jones came in and said, "I want that."
Yeah,
and he made the Cowboys video screen, and then I think somewhere in Dubai has a huge visual screen that topped even the Cowboys. Not for sports.
So, what do they?
It's like a room almost where it's like the screen isn't like a flat screen. It waves around and it's almost like a wall, a video screen. So
interesting.
But Dubai, got a lot of really crazy technical advances out there that they like to show off. So
there was a
that's a place where you can go play tennis on the helicopter pad.
Oh, there you go.
You lose the ball. Whoop.
There was a minor league stadium in the Eastern League in Harrisburg that had video board in right center field. It was the weirdest thing. The fence in right center field was a video board. It was the weirdest thing I ever saw. I'm like, why would you put the video board in right center? That looks crazy.
Boston could do that. They could put a big screen on the big monster. It wouldn't look as cool because the green monster is green.
Yeah.
So you don't want a screen to.
No.
It it's big enough. They don't really have a jumbotron, do they, in Boston?
They have kind of sort of one in center field, kind of sort of, but
I feel like you almost have to have something now.
Yeah, and then I like in Progressive Field, I like the score updates.
Right.
In the on the left center field fence, the score updates, and that's an interesting place for a Major League Baseball score updates. Oh, by the way, he just hit a drive off the score update in left center field. But it's an interesting place for it.
Right.
You know, I like their jumbotron in left field. Just got to make sure you have netting all around it, just in case somebody decides to slam one off of the scoreboard.
One off their face.
Yeah.
That's not a good picture of me. I'll take care of that.
And put a big old dent in your multi-million-dollar scoreboard.
Pick a better picture next time.
Yeah, there you go. I know the Scrappers, a couple of years ago, they invested in a brand new scoreboard.
That's why we're glad the Scrappers are back, because it would have been really sad to have a huge investment like they did a couple of years ago.
They invested a lot of money.
Gone. So
that and
super
again,
happy the Scrappers are back.
Yeah,
on YSN.
For all of those teams that invested money in their minor league system, and now they don't even have a minor league team. That sucks. But thankfully, the Scrappers are one of 6 teams that are going to be taking part in the draft league. I can't wait for this league. I cannot wait for this league to start up.
He's shaking a little bit.
Yeah,
guys.
this is going to be absolute fun.
I
cannot wait. In a couple of months, by the way, it kicks off. Just saying.
And for the people at home, where can they watch the Scrapper home games?
YSNlive.com.
Boom.
Mm-hmm. All the home games. And the beautiful part of all of this, thanks to COVID, the home broadcaster will be in charge of broadcasting the game, not only for the home market, but for the away market as well. So let's say Youngstown or the Mahoning Valley Scrappers are playing West Virginia, the Black Bears. Which their games are in Morgantown, West Virginia, gorgeous city, home of the West Virginia Mountaineers, West by God, Virginia. Their broadcaster would not travel to Eastwood Field, so I would be in charge of not only broadcasting the game for YSNlive.com, but our feed would also go to whether it's a radio station or whatever entity the Black Bears have with their agreement. I would be broadcasting the game for that particular team, along with the Scrappers. So I think it would be really cool. Looking forward to that. So YSN will have not only coverage of the Scrappers,
you're going to get us some global exposure, aren't you?
Coverage from everywhere in the draft league, which would include West Virginia, State College, Williamsport, Frederick, Maryland, and Trenton, New Jersey. So this has been an interesting league. I guess it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm still waiting to hear on who our manager is, because Jordan Taylor called in a few weeks ago, and he said you're gonna love the decision of who we get as the manager. And I'm like, come on, let's go.
He put a little piece of string in front of him. He's dangling.
He put a mozzarella stick in front of me, and I'm like, come on, help a brother out here.
He's got you on the treadmill. Like, you have to run for it. It's right inside the carrot.
You might say that. Yeah, you might say that. So I'm waiting for this news, because I can't wait to see who our coaching staff is going to be. This is going to be fun.
And then you just have to hope that he didn't hype it up so much to have a letdown.
Oh, no. He said that this was going to be a really interesting name. I'm like, okay, look forward to that. But the Scrapper schedule is out.
Spoiler alert, I'm the manager.
Yeah. There you go. I'd like to see that. Opening day, by the way, is for the home opener for the Scrappers, 2 months from tomorrow. May 26th is opening day at Eastwood Field. And the 2021 schedule is out. And the Major League Baseball Draft League, the names will be coming out probably in the next month or so, as far as who is going to be playing. That's all courtesy of Prep Baseball
Probably
Report.
won't know for sure until after they finish college, though, right?
Yeah, it's going to be. They're probably in the process of doing something right now, trying to get through all of the players that are draft eligible, whether it be in high school or in college. Lord knows they've got a ridiculous assignment there, because there's going to be literally thousands of kids playing in high school, seniors, that are going to be draft eligible, because every senior is draft eligible. And then junior college players are draft eligible.
Yep.
And college kids that are in their third year are eligible. So there's a ton of players to sift through before you come up with the, 150 or so. No, 16. Yeah, about 150, 160.
Don't forget to carry the 2.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot to. Thank you for a reminder. About 150, 160 kids that'll be on the rosters with the 6 teams. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Now, see, I wonder how much that roster will. Like, is it going to be a set roster for the whole summer, or is there going to be teams that, okay, this kid, like, the draft is in the middle of the draft league season, right?
Yeah, the draft is going to be. The first 42 games are going to be played, and then the league is going to break from July 9th through the 14th. The MLB draft is going to be July 11th, 12th, and 13th. And then the play resumes on the 15th.
Like, after the draft, the kids that get drafted, are they still going to play? Because now they're owned by a team.
Well, see, this is the tunnel that nobody knows what's going to happen. If I were a general manager or a farm director, and my second or third round draft pick is from one of these teams, I would just as soon rather have that kid play the rest of the year in this league, because there's no reason to take him out of this league.
Reps are reps, right?
And put him into A-ball. Now, this league is finished in mid-August. Theoretically, if everything falls into place health-wise and everything, minor league baseball season ends on Labor Day. So if the season is over and let's say that playoffs are done, everything's done by August 15th, well, you still have about 2.5, 3 weeks. And the playoffs, if your minor league team is good enough to go to the postseason, perhaps maybe one of these kids gets their feet wet after playing in the draft league. Hey, we're gonna send you to low A ball. And since you just signed a contract with us, we drafted you, you signed a contract, we're going to send you to low A ball at the conclusion of this season and get your feet wet for 2022, where you'll probably start your pro career in this team. It makes sense, but we'll see.
Baseball doesn't always do what makes sense there, so we don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, no kidding.
Who knows?
2 months from yesterday is when the Scrappers open their season. They're going to be in West by God, Virginia, for a 2-game series with the West Virginia Black Bears. And then State College comes to town for a 2-gamer opening night fireworks on May the 26th. And then a second game of the series is on a Thursday. And then Frederick comes to town the first weekend of the season, the 28th, 29th, and 30th, the day before Memorial Day. Fireworks on Friday night against Frederick. So, Fireworks Friday. Gotta love it. Friday fireworks. There's fireworks every Friday at Eastwood Field. May the 28th, June the 18th and 25th against West Virginia, July the 30th against West Virginia, and August 13th against West Virginia. So
fireworks are funny because, like, when we go to Kansas City for 4th of July, and they are fireworks, or you can light them off in the street, not in this, but in your yard and everything, and it's not really illegal. So my cousins and my uncle are nuts about it, and it's fascinating for me because you're spending $200, $300, and you're literally blowing it up.
Yeah, you're blowing through your money in one fell swoop.
And you light it and it goes off and your money's gone in like 15 seconds.
Pretty much.
Woo!
Yeah, pretty much. I remember I was in my early 20s and still living in Leetonia, and a good friend of mine, who was my best friend, we went over to his place, and he was across the street from which is now the Leetonia K through 12 building. Back then it was the elementary school, Orchard Hill. And he lived across the street from Orchard Hill. Well, down the street in Washingtonville, if you went down Walnut Street and down the hill, the VFW is in Washingtonville. And for a long time, the VFW used to shoot off fireworks. And most of the time, their fireworks were really good. I mean, they were a really good show on the 4th of July. This particular year was horrible. Their fireworks were just flat garbage. We went to a fireworks dealership, which will not be mentioned, and back then, and I think you can still do it today, you wink, wink, nod, nod, nudge, nudge, and say, oh yeah, I live in Pennsylvania, and I'm going to take these across the border to my home state and shoot them off. Yeah, right. So you buy all kinds of stuff, and there was this one deal was buy one, get the second one for $1. Well, the one was Finale. So what was said, Finale. It's like $65. Finale.
That's kind of cool.
All right, let's buy this. And I got another one, and I'm like, okay, well, it's $66. I got 2 Finales. Well, this will be cool. We can light them off, and then, this was the finale. So we lit both of them at the same time.
No.
And we had traffic stopping, and the cops were like looking at us going, where did you guys, I don't know. We just found this and decided, what the hell, let's light it up. Our fireworks show was better than theirs.
Oh, it was a finale.
It was a finale. We had the traffic was stopped. Everyone's like, damn, this is really cool. I'm like, all right. Glad you guys liked it. We'll take a timeout. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. Coming up at the top of the hour, our look into softball, being that it is Thursday and we're one day away from the start of the 2021 softball season in high school softball in the area. Steve Ward from Austintown Fitch will be calling in on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. We'll talk Fitch Falcons softball, and then coming up at 2:30, Fred Moots from Boardman. The Lady Spartans will be playing some softball this spring. And we will hear from the head softball coach at Boardman.
Better not skip summer. I'll jump over the table.
Yeah, no. We're not skipping summer. No, absolutely not. And this is a prelude of the great weather that we're going to get. Although tonight, make sure you're battening the hatches because apparently we're going to get a lot of really high winds. So make sure that the garbage cans are pretty much nailed to the ground and all the other stuff.
We made them as well. Back before South Range moved to their new high school, the high school got out an hour earlier than the middle school. So like the high school would get out at 2:30, middle school would get out at 3:30. 2:30 was too early for my mom to be home from work to get me, so I got dropped off at one of the aides' house. And one day I felt so bad because she always would park the wheelchair outside. I'd go in the house and we'd wait for my mom to get up. She forgot to put the brakes on the wheelchair.
Oh.
And it was a windy day. And that wheelchair rolled into the street.
Oh, yeah.
Hit by a semi. The semi driver had a heart attack because he thought that he just hit someone in the wheelchair.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, it was so bad. And it was like she put it in front of a trash can, so it must have went whoop and then whoop. I mean,
that sounds like something Impractical Jokers would have done. Just have a wheelchair go out and have some random semi truck driver run the wheelchair over and then see the carnage that follows.
That's cruel.
I mean, that's horrible. Is what that is.
You're tricking someone into thinking they just basically killed someone in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. It's just an empty chair.
Yeah, it's just an empty chair. Ha ha ha. No. That sounds like something Ashton Kutcher would have done on Punk'd.
Yeah. I can see that on Punk'd.
All right, 330-886-0813. We're back in a bit. Stick around.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
The 2021 Auto Show must go on.
Exclusively at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Save more during the Extra Mile Auto Show with employee pricing for everyone on some of our most popular models. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on the value of your trade. Schedule a test drive today to experience the 2021 lineup for yourself.
Visit GreenwoodAutoShow.com to see how Greenwood Chevrolet can go the extra mile for you.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-2333 3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hardwig, decked out in his Tennessee Volunteer orange today. How are they doing in softball this year?
They're ranked 20th in the nation as we speak. They lost 2 out of 3 to Alabama last weekend. So they're trying to bounce back from that, but Alabama's number 2 in the country, so not too much of a reason to hang your head to lose the series to them.
Hey, Brian Shaw, the 33-year-old right-handed pitcher who was abused by Indians fans year after year after year. He was the whipping boy for the Indians. Well, he's back. He made the Indians roster. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing Brian Shaw back because I was a supporter of his. I think that Brian Shaw is a much better reliever than what most fans say that he is. I think he did a pretty nice job.
All the fans in Cleveland are sharpening their pitchforks and saying, let's go at it again, boys.
Let's go at it again. But Shaw did a really nice job this spring, and he will be in the bullpen for the Cleveland Indians when the season begins 1 week from today against Detroit. So congratulations to Brian Shaw, and hopefully he will shut up all these morons that didn't like him in the first place. And I love these people that are, he cost us the World Series. No.
Back to our topic that we started with.
Yeah.
The way people perceive the blame on one particular player, one particular moment in a series.
I never understood that. So anyway, Cleveland's favorite whipping boy is back. Brian Shaw makes the Indians roster. Congratulations to Brian Shaw, and hopefully the second time around is going to be even better than the first time he was in Cleveland. So I love these people that are down on the Indians because these checks that y'all are writing out, you're going to be you're not going to be cashing any of them in. I'm just going to tell you right now, the Indians are going to win at least 85 games this year. Minimum 85 games.
Whether
this
that's
year.
enough to win the division, I don't know.
Minimum, they will win minimum 85 games this year.
Nah, I see minimum 80. No, I mean maximum 80. Minimum, I don't see them going.
They have more than enough.
Maximum 500, like
they have
81 and
more
81.
than enough pitching that's going to give a lot of people some problems.
Pitching only takes you so far.
Well, I get it, but pitching is a big part of baseball. They're going to be a handful.
DJ heard you.
I know he heard me.
85. Huh?
85 is a minimum.
How confident are you about 85?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Okay.
Come on, you said
There
it.
we go. The history for this is 0-3 for me for those keeping score at home. I'm very confident in this. Barring injuries, I'm very confident in this.
What president confident are you in this?
Well, hold on a second. I'm going to do my math here. Who's on well, not all presidents are on bills.
No.
Not all presidents are on our paper. Who's on a 20? Is it Johnson?
Jackson.
Is it Jackson?
If
Or
I have to wait months for this, we're not betting 20 Skittles. We're betting 50 and above Skittles.
who's on a 50?
Not Trump.
No.
Not Biden.
I don't have enough 50s. I never.
Well, he wouldn't remember if he
50s
was on a 50.
50s
so that's
obscure.
neither here nor there.
He was supposed to be there, but he fell down.
I mean, leather shoes, carpet airplane. I can understand. That's kind of a tough, tricky situation.
I've never seen a president do that.
Gerald Ford did way back in the day. That was, Saturday Night Live murdered him in his sleep with the amount of times that he tripped. Chevy Chase's career is based on him falling down.
Grant is on the 50.
Grant? Well, I feel good because
Who's
he.
on the Honda?
Huh?
Who's on the Honda?
Franklin.
Franklin's on the 100.
I like Franklin.
Well, I like him
Favorite
too,
presidents.
but he's a little out of my league. Ulysses S. Grant is a guy
So you're
that.
saying it? You're kind of confident in it, but
No,
not
I'm
Franklin
saying that I know my history of betting Skittles, and I'm 0-3 against you. So I'm not going to be going way hog crazy on this, but I am confident the Indians win 85 minimum. So we'll go a Ulysses S. Grant Skittles for this.
50 Skittles?
50 Skittles, absolutely.
50 Skittles, I'm down.
Yeah, 50 Skittles, 85 minimum. This is based on a 162-game schedule.
Correct.
Yeah, so hopefully we don't go off
85 games.
off the edge. They'll win at least 85. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to say they're going to do this, but there is value in the Indians winning the Central Division, the odds. There's value in that.
Do you want to double down on that?
There's value in that.
Double down on that
I'm not saying that I would expect it, but there's value in that.
When you talk, do you hear yourself?
Yeah. This is the same person that said the Yankees would not win the American League East last year, that Tampa Bay would win the East, and everyone thought I was nuts. Who won the American League East last year? Tampa Bay did. I'm just saying.
I didn't say you were nuts.
I'm just saying Cleveland will win at least 85 games this year. At least.
How many games they win last year?
They won. It was a 60-game schedule where
The
they
last normal
35
season.
and 25.
The last normal season.
Last normal season they were 92
So
or
you're saying
93.
They're only 7 games worse than they were without
all the people
their
they lost.
franchise player, their Cy Young Award winner.
Well, they have a Cy Young
They
Award
have one.
winner. Yeah,
Carrasco,
So you're telling me they're only 7 games worse,
Santana.
they're not as bad as, as
and with
what
a
people
with
think.
a division that is a lot better.
I agree. The division has gotten better, especially with Chicago, because the White Sox are the best team in that division, as far as I'm concerned. But
you just told people that you're.
I
gonna be
would say
surprised.
that if things go right, Cleveland could win that division this year. If things were to go
if
right.
things go right, the Pirates could win the World Series.
Yeah, there you would have to have the Earth stop rotating on its axis, and a lot of other things go goofy
Hey, they
for
got
the.
a guy batting
for-
.727 in spring training right now.
I
so
get yeah. Who is it?
Kevin Newman.
Yeah, Newman's nice. He's nice. They'll win 60 games this year. Pirates are going to lose 100. I hope I'm wrong.
I have them losing 99.
99. There you go. There you go.
They will not get triple-digit losses.
I hope not. I hope you're right on that. I hope you're right on
As
that.
bad as people think. Just the same as I can't believe you're betting on the Indians.
I will say this about the Pirates. In 3 years, and maybe sooner, they're contending for the Central Division title. That farm system just got all kinds of stacked.
I agree with that. However, I think a lot of it depends on if they can keep Cabrian Hayes.
Well, he's in year 1.
Well, he just turned down a big contract.
Well, he can turn down any contract he wants. He's a Pirate for the next 6 years. They'll be ready to play and contend halfway through his 6-year venture
Can I familiarize you with the Pittsburgh Pirates
Yeah.
organization?
I understand what the
guy that
deal
we just
is.
talked about batting .727 won't be there at the end of the year. Also,
It depends.
nope.
No.
Because Seven Springs needs new chairlifts.
God, I love Nutting. He's so easy to just make fun of.
Well, I mean, reality. I mean, did you talk? I saw on social media you were picking out Jadeveon Clowney.
Yes.
Well, didn't you say last week or the week prior, Bud Dupree was a huge loss for the Steelers?
Bud Dupree was, but then I remembered who the guy is that's replacing him. Highsmith isn't bad, so it's not as bad a loss. But Dupree put up some nice numbers for the Steelers.
When did he start putting up nice numbers?
His contract year.
No. When somebody across from him became a Pittsburgh Steeler, T.J. Watt. That's when he became Bud Dupree that got the $48 million or whatever he got from Tennessee. So what you're going to see Bud Dupree get is paid, and to your point of Jadeveon Clowney, paid for doing nothing, stealing money from an organization because he's going to be terrible in Tennessee because he doesn't have T.J. Watt across from him on the other side. Jadeveon Clowney would be an asset in Cleveland because think of who's on his other side.
He didn't do anything with a better player on the other side for most of his career in Houston. He had J.J. Watt. He played the other side of J.J. Watt for most of his career. He did nothing. Clowney has 0 double-digit sacks in his career. He did nothing in Tennessee. Jadeveon Clowney is known for one thing, a highlight reel tackle made in college where he tore the helmet off of some kid from Michigan.
I seem to remember Jadeveon Clowney being in a great conversation before he got hurt in Houston. Like, he was the guy, and the Texans were good and made the playoffs because they had Watt and Clowney. I could be wrong on this from a timeline perspective, but I remember Clowney getting hurt, and it was a devastating loss because they lost JJ and Clowney around the same time. But I will say this. If you're an NFL GM, who would you put $50 million in? Bud Dupree, who's never made a Pro Bowl, or Jadeveon Clowney, who at least gives you someone with size, speed, and athleticism?
I wouldn't spend money on either one of them.
Why?
Because
you need an edge rusher.
I do need an edge rusher. I'd rather spend it in the draft and go, okay, for 5 years I have this guy. I don't have to pay him an insane amount of money.
If you're the Browns, you're drafting at 26. You're not going to have necessarily the best edge rushers available.
You can get a nice edge rusher late in the first round.
Depending on if there's a run.
Well,
depending on need.
Then and also it's stacked this year, so there's plenty of opportunities.
Tackles are stacked. I know that.
There's plenty of ends that you can get. Hell, the kid from who was it, Wake Forest, Basham, you can get him in the second round, and he's going to be a solid player. So I think that if you're up against the cap or close to up against the cap, I'm not spending money on Clowney. Throw that out. I'll take my chances in the draft. Let's go from there.
In Seattle, right? Last year?
No, he was in Tennessee. Played 8 games. $14 million for 8 games and no sacks.
Well, I mean, that's the risk you take with an edge rusher.
I get it.
Edge rushers. Look at what Cleveland had this year. Everybody talks about Myles Garrett, but where the hell was he the second half of the season? And everybody's COVID.
Well, look,
they're paying that guy.
Myles Garrett's overrated too. So
I'm in that camp.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a nice talent, and he can be a really, really, really impressive talent. But up until this year, he'd never taken a game over. He did a couple of times this year. So his trendward is going upward. His arrow is going upward. But up until this year, he hadn't taken a game over. What I saw was if I need a sack from you on third down, you're nowhere to be found. Up until this past year, then he had a lot of we need you to sack this quarterback, and he did type of moments last year.
He was better in the last 2 years prior than he was this last year. I thought when they needed him this year, he literally wasn't on the field.
Well, he had some COVID issues toward the end of the year, but before COVID, he was on pace to go 16 sacks.
But who were they playing?
Well, again, it's the National Football League. I mean, you're not playing against chopped liver every single week. It's the NFL. You're playing an NFL schedule. I mean, but here's the other thing where, and I'm not down on the Browns, but everyone that's sitting back and saying the Browns are going to be better than next year, let me break this down for everyone. Last year, the Cleveland Browns played against the NFC East and the AFC South and went 8-0 against those two conferences, or against those two divisions. This year, they're playing the NFC North and the AFC West.
But that's usually the entire division, correct?
Yeah, it's the entire division. Last year, they went 8-0 against Philadelphia, Dallas, Washington, the Giants, Indianapolis, Houston, Jacksonville, and who's the team that I'm missing? Tennessee. Yeah, brain fart. I've already got 3 losses because you're not beating Kansas City. You're not beating Green Bay. You're probably not going to beat the Chargers because it's out in Los Angeles.
Why aren't they beating Green Bay?
They're not going to beat Green Bay. Green Bay is going to be
They just lost their best lineman.
They're still going to be all right. Green Bay is Green Bay. They're still going to be solid.
It's a winnable game.
It's a winnable game.
But they're not going to go 8-0.
50-50.
So okay, even if they go 6-2, you've already lost 2 games here. You're going to go 3-3 against your division like you did last year. You're going to split with the Steelers, split with the Ravens, and probably split with the Bengals because at some point in time, Cincinnati's going to wake up. So you still go 3-3. So you're still down 2 games. So your 2 games against the AFC this year is Houston, very winnable. New England, hell no. Especially then it's up in Foxborough. So that's 1-1. So you've actually gained a game. So you're still down 1 game. They're going to wind up 10-6. They're not going to be 11-5 or better this year. They're going to be 10-6 because they're playing a much more difficult schedule.
But you said it yourself. It's not chopped liver. So these other teams can step up or they can fall off. I mean, every team is 1 injury away.
No, I agree with that.
Patrick Mahomes.
I agree with that.
Depending on where the Browns play the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes has proven, that he is human.
I agree.
And if you have, who's that backup quarterback that beat him?
Chad Henne.
Yeah, Chad Henne, Michigan.
If they get Chad Henne for an entire game, the Browns are winning that game.
Probably.
So my thing is number one, it's fun to talk about, but it's way too soon.
Oh, of course, because we're not even in the NFL draft yet.
So I'm interested to see the Indians bet. I'm all in on 85 games. So 85 or above, you win.
85 or above.
Below, I win.
Yes.
That was the easiest 50 I've ever made.
Nope.
Like, I say that every time I have a bet with you. Because it just gets more. And what's great is I can hear it from my seat. So I just pop in and say, okay, let's see how confident Ron feels today.
Very.
So you feel that the Browns are 10-6 at best?
As of right now, it's subject to change because, of course, the NFL draft and everything else.
So when should we put the bet on that?
It's probably a couple of weeks before the season starts.
Gotta wait that long.
Yeah, a couple of weeks before. I mean, look,
so we can go back.
Coming into the
make that
preseason
bet by training camp.
I'm not going to make that bet a week or so before the season because I don't want if somebody blows their leg out in the or their knee out and part of the schedule, then it's going to make the schedule a little bit easier.
How is that any different than the first game, like with Tom Brady when he snapped his leg?
Mm-hmm. They still went 11-5,
and they lost it. They missed the playoffs.
Well, they missed the playoffs because the AFC East was actually good that year.
So here's the real one that I want to talk about is New England. Now you're pretty high on New England right now with what they brought in.
Yep.
Will they win the East?
God, I hope not.
See what they did?
I hope not. Look, I'm a realist. Buffalo's reign in the East might be one and done because Miami's gotten a hell of a lot better, and New England's gotten a hell of a lot better.
You're 50-50 on that one.
Yeah, well,
Miami is not going to win that division. If they win that division,
I hope not.
There's no chance.
I hope they don't.
But they could be one of those teams that takes a division away from people. Like they could beat Buffalo and Buffalo.
But they do that on a regular basis
right.
every year. I mean, New England is
You look at Tom
terrifying
Brady's record in Miami, it's just proof that there's always been a team that can sneak a win away. Because Tom Brady struggles in Miami.
Well, Tom Brady struggles. I mean, New England struggles in Miami.
Right.
I mean, Buffalo, here's where I would put Buffalo. Buffalo is on the same plane as the Cleveland Browns. The same exact play.
They're a little bit up.
I don't think so, because the Browns get tested every year in their division by two teams, the Steelers and the Ravens. Buffalo's not getting tested right. They had a year that they weren't tested.
Well, they went 6-0. I agree with that. They went 6-0 in their division.
So next year, when the Patriots are back,
but here's where I'm going to blow your theory up. The Bills played the NFC West last year, not the Cupcake East. They played the NFC West last year. They beat the Rams. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the 49ers, and were a Hail Murray pass. Mad respect for Murray and mad respect for the guy that caught the ball for making the catch and beating Arizona. They were 3-1 against arguably the best division in the National Football League. They went 3-1 against the NFC West.
The what?
The NFC West.
The best division?
Arguably the best division in the NFL.
Well, everything's arguably.
AFC
it was.
North had 3 teams.
The NFC West had 3 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would take my money over the AFC North in those situations.
Okay, that's fine. The NFC West had 3 teams in the playoffs as well.
NFC West is the.
Okay.
Ugh.
The NFC West had 3 teams in the playoffs, just like the AFC North.
But you lost to the team that didn't make the playoffs.
Well, that's, unfortunate, but, it is what it is.
Don't brag about it and say you lost to the team that didn't make it. What?
Did they have 3?
Yeah.
The Rams, Seahawks, and
the Niners.
Niners all made the playoffs?
Niners didn't make the playoffs.
Niners did not make the
right,
playoffs.
You're right.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, Razor's theory. Well.
Yeah, you're right.
It was like the Niners sucked this year because they had everyone hurt.
You're right. Everyone got hurt. Why did I think 2 years ago? All right. Well, it was one of the best divisions in the NFC. So it was a better division. It was a better division than the NFC East. We'll put it that way. And who's the AFC teams that the Bills played?
They played the West, right?
No, they played
the Chiefs.
Yeah, you're right. They played the West and they lost to the Chiefs. They beat the Raiders, they beat the Chargers, and they beat the Broncos.
Washington football team was pretty doggone good this year. At least that's that I remember. They beat us.
Wow.
We made the playoffs. I just don't. I don't think that. I'm a Josh Allen fan. I have been, even before you.
Yeah, I'm glad of that because it took me a while to get on that bandwagon.
Yeah,
that was ugly to watch him play his rookie year. No, I mean, his second year, I was like, okay, we might have something here. And then
he trashed him. He trashed Josh Allen before the season last year. You hated him.
No, I agree.
All of a sudden, he was the second coming.
I saw the improvement in the second year, but I said he needed to take another big step in the right direction, and he did.
Now he's a very green John Elway.
I said that in last year. I said before this season started, I said he was a green John Elway, and I will stand by that. I will stand by that because he is trending toward that stratosphere.
John Elway?
Yes.
He's trending towards John Elway?
Yes. He's already more accurate than Elway ever was.
In a 3-year clip.
Every bit the arm Elway had, if not bigger, and every bit the running threat that Elway was. He's trending that way. We'll just see if he can do what Elway did in the end. What was it, year? When was he drafted in 83?
So is Michael Vick?
Wait, hold on a second. Elway was drafted in the class of 83.
No, don't bring up Michael Vick because he'll say that Michael Vick wasn't accurate.
84, 85, 86. Year 4. Year 4, he wasn't. Year 4, John Elway went to the Super Bowl. So, Josh Allen is in year 4. Let's see what happens.
But he didn't win it.
No, you're right. He
didn't win until
he didn't win until late in his career. You're right.
This one's for John.
Yeah.
Michael Vick's not accurate?
No. Never was.
I feel like this is spinning back towards Lamar Jackson.
He never was.
Here we go.
No, he never was.
No, he absolutely was in Philadelphia. He was a much better thrower.
He had to be.
He was a little bit inaccurate in Falcons, but he still made some really good throws that were on the money. But
he had to
definitely
run
in Philadelphia.
In Atlanta.
Right.
I mean, Philly, he could sit back and throw. And it's the same theory as Lamar Jackson. It's people, he's not a good passer. That is baloney. And up until they played Buffalo, he went 50 trips to the red zone without a turnover.
Taron Johnson took care of that.
Yeah, I'll take 50-1 over whatever Josh Allen has at this point.
Josh Allen doesn't make mistakes in the red zone. He's yet to throw an interception in his entire career in the red zone.
His entire career?
His entire career, he's never thrown an interception in the red zone.
Has he lost a fumble? Because he runs.
Well, yeah, he has lost.
Well, that counts.
Yeah, he's lost fumbles. He hasn't thrown a pick in the red zone. He's never thrown a pick in the red zone.
50 trips to the red zone and no turnovers for Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
50 trips, not fumble. And would you argue that?
And then you also look at his red zone percent, and the Ravens were good in the red zone, so it's not like he wasn't throwing picks, but they weren't moving.
I think the Ravens are my odds-on favorite to be in the AFC Championship to play Kansas City next year.
Okay.
Because they're picking up tight ends. You're looking at if they can get a receiver in the draft or somehow scrape something together for free agency, the Ravens are the real deal.
I think there's a team that's not really being heard from that scares me more than the Ravens as a Bills fan. And that's the team that Buffalo should have been beaten by in the first round, and that's Indianapolis. Indianapolis is going to be the best team in the National Football League, not named Kansas City.
Good China in here, but that's about as good as their quarterback is. Wentz is going to be a just fragile piece of.
Yeah, well, that fragile piece of dung is going to be protected by the best offensive line in the National Football League.
So was Phillip Rivers, and they didn't really do much.
Phillip Rivers was past his prime. That's why they didn't go anywhere. Plus, he throws like a girl.
I mean, I'll take that. He'll probably be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt. But I was.
And you were the last person to say he throws like a girl.
But I was. I was looking. I was listening to when you said that. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? And then I started watching Phillip Rivers play. I was like, oh my God, what the hell kind of a throw is? What is he doing? Why can't you throw the ball like this? He's like.
It took you 17 years to figure out he throws weird?
I really never noticed it. I was just like, I'm like, what did he looks like what was the skit on In Living Color? Handyman. He used to I'm like, what the hell is this? How can you throw a ball down the field not moving your arm? You look like a damn stroke victim trying to throw a ball.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
I mean, I'm trying to be nice, but he looks like Bob Dole trying to throw a ball down the field, for God's sake.
Is there a pot to call the kettle black here? Ron, you're the weirdest shooting / dunking / what
well, I'm not an athlete.
That's what I'm saying. He's made a career of it.
Well, I understand
Good
that.
enough to be better than anybody that throws quote unquote normal.
He throws the ball accurately. I'll give him that.
I mean,
but
I would argue he's in, and I hate the guy. I hate Phillip Rivers. I would argue he's in the top half of NFL quarterbacks right now. Like, if somebody went down, they're picking up Phillip Rivers. They're at least making that phone call. And he does throw like I wouldn't say a girl, because I've seen girls throw better than arguably.
Is it a weird motion?
Yes, he's got a weird motion. But that weird motion has worked for him somehow. And it's accurate as can be.
Yeah. Bernie's motion wasn't exactly the greatest in the world, but it worked for him.
No, and Roethlisberger runs like a pregnant woman, but it works for him.
It works for him.
And Tom Brady, he falls like a sack of potatoes but it works for him. It's fine.
Live to fight another day. That's what he does. I mean, he sees pressure up the middle.
Well, he's not going to outrace anybody.
No, of course not.
And we knew that going into his rookie year. He and Peyton Manning both are not built on. And Peyton Manning has some unbelievable touchdowns off of bootlegs, which I will never understand. But Phillip Rivers, man, I still think that if there's a handful of the top 16 quarterbacks that go down, there's a phone call being made to the father of 9, out in I think he still lives in San Diego, actually.
I think, yeah.
Because he drives in every
Well, he's going to
day.
be coaching high school football this year. So
Phillip Rivers?
yeah, that's why he's leaving. He's going to be coaching high school football.
Wait, that's why he's leaving?
Well, he's retired, and he
Okay.
said he wanted to coach his high school football team because they wanted him to coach his team last year, and he says, "Nah," he says, "I'm going to quarterback the Colts, see if we can finally win a Super Bowl."
I'm going to borrow a Jeff Bezosism right here. He has a very punchable face.
Yeah. And
I hate his face.
By gosh, by golly.
You say pow? When he does that crybaby, like scrunches his face up, and he doesn't swear, which makes it even worse.
Oh no, he probably drinks milk.
You drink milk.
I don't drink milk
no,
anymore.
I made this mistake. He's got water in a milk
I have
carton.
water in my
A milk carton.
in a milk carton. I have water.
Is that worse?
No, I mean I drink a lot of water. I'm trying to drink as much water as I can.
Do you want me to get you a water jug?
Well, I mean, you know,
I got you a cup, which usually takes the place of containers.
well, I understand
Takes
that,
it
but
and he pours it from the jug.
pour
into
it
his
from
cup.
the jug into my cup that has a lot of ice in it. So
He's a weird cat.
yeah,
You are weird, Ron.
yeah. There's a lot of people would agree with you on that one.
I love him, but he's weird. Just wacky. I opened the door and I was like, "Oh, Ron's got milk in the fridge."
No. That would be water.
I was looking for the
Yeah.
Oreos.
It's milky water.
No, there's no Oreos here. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, thankfully.
Wouldn't be it.
Yeah,
Wouldn't be here for long.
Thankfully, they're not here because the over/under on the amount of days Oreos in this place would last would probably
Oh,
be
we know. We're keeping track
3.
of the candy count out in the front.
How long did the
Which one?
Snickers last?
All of them.
Well, I
Before
mean,
we go on every day, and I have people that are on the pre-show.
Yeah.
They just hear, and they literally say, "Ron's in the candy again."
that's it.
And they know.
I'm looking for a Snickers.
We know.
Yeah.
We know you.
I mean, Snickers are the go-to. That's if there's a candy in the Hall of Fame, Snickers and Reese's belong in the Hall of Fame.
Whenever my daughters come in on Sunday for their birthday party and they want a Snickers, I'll explain. Uncle Ron took all the Snickers. to the birthday party.
Is the birthday party on Sunday?
It is.
I will buy. No, I feel bad because your daughters are kicking my ass in my NCAA bracket, and I kind of feel bad. Mad respect for them, so I will purchase the fun. I will purchase the fun size Snickers at Dollar General, and we'll get the party started
They'll
here
be fine.
Sunday.
They don't need any more candy, but just know whenever one goes looking for a Snickers.
Now I've got a guilty
Uncle Ronnie's
complex.
got the.
Now I got a guilty complex.
Uncle Ron taking all the Snickers from all the children of the world.
Well, there you go. There you go.
They know what they're getting into.
Lord knows they. I'm stealing a lot of candy from people that probably should take it more than me. So, and I still bitch about how I'm not losing weight. Well, not losing weight
You gave up meat
because
but
I'm
you
eating.
doubled down on Snickers.
That's it. You're right. I did.
Makes no sense
Kind
at all.
of a loose argument there. It's like, okay, you did well here, but you're compensating over there, and yeah, that's not going to work. Oh well.
How much and you don't have to answer this, but how much meat do you eat that you gave it up and you
Well, no, I don't give up meat. The Catholic faith is one that you are not allowed to eat meat on Fridays during Lent.
just on Fridays?
Just on Fridays during Lent.
So you can eat meat 6 days out of the week.
I can
but
eat
not on
this.
Friday.
You can eat meat 6 days out of the week, but on Fridays during Lent, the Catholic Church does not allow anyone to eat meat on Fridays, which means no chicken, no. The only meat, quote unquote, you can eat is fish.
I was gonna say chicken's not meat.
Yeah,
It's poultry.
but technically it's meat.
Pork is meat.
Yeah.
Wait, meat.
Honestly, I think Jesus is up in heaven eating a Big Mac, laughing at everyone on Fridays during Lent, just looking at the stupidity of it all. That's just my opinion.
I sit there and I go, okay, these are some of the, I had somebody say that to me one time in college. That's when I first kind of realized about this. Because high school, there's not many Catholics in East Palestine. Not a whole bunch.
Well, Our Lady of Lourdes is pretty full in East Palestine. I'm a little surprised by that.
I don't know. Maybe they're all older.
Okay.
But my thing is like I heard about this in college with my roommates, and I thought to myself, I know the decisions that you make, and that's the one you want to kind of hang
Yeah.
your hat on and say,
Yeah.
that's where I draw the line.
I think it's a weird decision, but it is what it is, and that's how we're doing it. So tomorrow I don't eat meat, and next Friday I don't eat meat, and then after Easter is done, we're back to doing what we do. All right, we got Steve Ward on the line. He is the head softball coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons. Coach, it's hard to believe that tomorrow we get into the high school softball season. It's bring it on, especially since we didn't have softball last year, and it'll be the first time in a couple of years since we've had the ladies take the diamond.
Yeah, let me tell you what, the excitement around Fitch High School here is amazing. We're opening up with a new field. We have the turf field now, right next to baseball, so imagine how exciting that's going to be for fans to come down. You're going to have varsity baseball on one side, varsity softball on the other side. We are more than ready to get this going on.
Coach, how important has this scrimmage season been? Because like a lot of teams, you have a lot of players that you just haven't seen on the field in a Fitch uniform yet because, we missed a whole year. Your freshmen or sophomores. Your sophomores, your juniors are only 1 year of experience. You got to kind of see what you have on the roster. So how important have these scrimmages been?
Well, as I'm sure you heard with a lot of coaches, we refer to our sophomores as redshirt freshmen.
Right.
That they're coming in. The scrimmages, and all four of them, we've been able to play outside. What a beautiful spring it's been. And to see what they could actually do against other teams, it really started the separation process because we are senior heavy, so we carry about 14 players on varsity. And the lineup has been turning over based on performance. So we're going to put the best 9 out there on Saturday.
Coach, talk about your schedule. Obviously, Fitch is Division I. Year in, year out, Fitch normally plays a who's who of high school softball. Is it more the same this year?
We always do that. And one of my philosophies is I never care about what our overall record is. I want to see us get experience. So when people see our 17-10 record of the previous year we played 6 teams that were ranked in the different states because we went down to Myrtle Beach that year, and 1 team was nationally ranked. So competition is key to us getting better. And so, again, we're going to see the defending state champions, Louisville. We have St. Joe's, which we expect to be state ranked. And right in our own backyard, Boardman's going to be a pretty darn tough team. So our schedule is not going to give any leeway to us. We got Massillon-Jackson, which is kind of the odds-on favorite for the Federal League as well. And, the Federal League is always tough year in and year out. So to be favored in that, it's going to be a pretty good ball game.
Coach, I want to talk about in the circle, you have Lydia Spalding, who might be one of the pitchers we talk about a lot this season, signed to go to Penn State, of course. I haven't had the chance to see her live because we missed the whole season, and now she comes into her senior year. What does she bring to the circle? What does she throw, and what makes her so effective in the circle for you guys?
Overall, it's her character and her personality, because you could have a good player and alienate your teammates, but Lydia is by far a class act that just brings the entire team up. So being in the circle, it just calms everybody down, because when you know that she could reach back, throw one of her 6 pitches out there, and really, gear back and strike some people out, it gives the defense a little bit more confidence that they don't have to make the 21 outs. So with her being there, and definitely her bat, she smacked a home run yesterday in a scrimmage that I think just landed about 2 minutes ago. So I cannot say enough good things about her. Definitely our team, as you know, in softball, runs through the pitcher, and we can't ask for a better person to be out there.
Steve Ward, he is the head softball coach for the Austintown Fitch Falcons, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, you're not the only one. Everyone's going to have to deal with this, and the fact of you didn't have a season last year. Anthony and I had made mention of this. The seniors are gone, the class of 2019. They're gone. The juniors, which would have been the class of 2020, they're gone. So the last time we had softball, you had sophomores and freshmen that are now seniors and juniors. The trying to figure out what everyone has in softball, baseball, track and field, and all of the spring sports, is that going to be the key through the early part of the campaign, Coach?
Absolutely. As every coach is going to tell you, that COVID year really threw everyone into a loop. Just when I'm looking down the roster, we have kind of 2 full-time letter winners returning, and then 2 others that lettered that were sometimes starters, sometimes maybe just DPing or running for us. So we have an extremely young varsity team surrounding Lydia and Maddie Taylor. Haley Tarr and Alyssa Melody were our 2 other letter winners, but those 2 were the main ones out there playing. So going up and down our lineup, we're looking and saying, we got to keep in mind that these girls have not played varsity ball yet. And keeping that in mind, as you heard me say in other interviews, is our goal is not, necessarily Saturday. We obviously want a good showing, but we want to be playing our best ball in May. So the coaching staff and, the players, we're letting them grow into their positions as well. So there's competitiveness. We have 2 freshmen that are really chomping at the bit to get out there, and, they got a start yesterday against Glen Oak and really lit it up in Ayla Ray and Bella Tofil. So top to bottom, we're young, but I do believe we have some talent. And as long as we keep improving every day, and we have that saying, 1% better every day in what we're doing, we're going to be a tough team come May.
Now, thankfully, there was a travel season over the summer, and I know a lot of your girls got the chance to go and play with travel teams. How much do you see that making a difference? I mean, getting those reps over the summer, and when you look at the girls that on your roster that did play travel, how much do you see them separating themselves?
Everybody on the varsity roster plays some form of travel. So it was great to go out there and see them in the summer and, see them play different positions and have some fun and just getting back on the diamond with obviously another team. But it was just great to see them there. Being able to see them in the summer, and then, as you know, we're very fortunate to have Coach Wedding and our strength and conditioning program. And once we were allowed to open up there, I was seeing them 3 days a week. And let me tell you, these girls, they are not afraid of the weight room. We've had some record holders here now in the Fitch softball program for all of Fitch High School in the weight room.
Steve Ward joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I was going to ask, and that's a great lead up to the question. Obviously, in baseball, in softball, the weightlifting program has become a huge thing for programs. I'm glad to hear that the girls are getting the job done in the weight room, because the off-season weightlifting program, that's not just a football thing. That is an all-sports thing where you want to get your athletes bigger, faster, and stronger for the upcoming season.
Absolutely. And, there's some stigma around it that maybe baseball and softball shouldn't lift because you're going to become tight. You're not going to be able to fully extend and swing through, or your throwing motion is going to be compromised. And that's all nonsense. That's all stuff that's just kind of been predicated down in further years. But with our weightlifting program, I can't say enough great things about our school system and Coach Wedding and getting them in here, because you have the softball team lifting right next to the boys baseball team. And, you talk about competitiveness for our girls is, taking a look over, and sometimes they get a pretty big smile when they see that they're, deadlifting 275, and some of the boys baseball players, are looking at them saying, whoa, and it's a great synergistic atmosphere. We just push each other so much, and that's all just created inside that space. And again, we focus on mobility, we focus on flexibility and explosiveness, but sometimes you just got to work on the straight power.
And we can't let you go without talking about Maddie Taylor, because she's one of those girls that does not shy away from the weight room at all. I mean, she's a great lifter, great hitter. and not signed yet, but committed to go play in college at the next level. Talk about her, what she brings to the table, what she brings to the lineup, and how much her bat means to the Falcons.
The weight room is just built for Maddie. She holds the front squat record here at Pitch High School right now. And just her pushing herself and then bringing teammates along in there, when you have Lydia on one end, Maddie on the other end, the team just grows exponentially. With her bat in play, this scrimmage season, she's been on fire. She's locking down our 3 spot for us in the lineup, and she takes care of first base, and, we affectionately nicknamed her Scoops Taylor. The amount of plays that she can make at first base for us, her leadership, how she just communicates, and overall, her personality just brings the team another level because she is highly competitive. Obviously, she'll sign next year because juniors can't sign right now. But her personality just brings the team up. So something bad could be happening, and she'll just get them together, and she does what Maddie Taylor does and just builds the team up, gives them confidence.
Coach, for those...
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thoughts, sir, please.
Well, that's so important for our young team because, build on that competitiveness. Our biggest problem is we're trying too hard in some spots. Sometimes we're coming out of our shoes trying to hit big hits instead of just base hits, or we're trying to do too much in the field. And Maddie's that calming influence and just, gives them a little pat on the back and says, listen, be yourself. Do what you do. We know you're great here. We're going to be great together.
For those that are new to the game of softball, talk about the speed of the game. And I ask this or let you explain this, given the fact that softball, the baseline's 30 feet in, where instead of a 90-foot home to first, it's 60 feet. The infield is obviously more condensed. The speed of the game in softball makes it, for me, it makes softball so entertaining. Tell everyone who's new to the sport of softball the nuances for the game in comparison to baseball.
The speed of the game goes so much faster. There's a lot more small ball involved in the game, and so that just creates havoc where you could do a lot more bunt and steals. Actually, we did a suicide 2 games in a row successfully. And those type of exciting plays are where the ball just comes and moves faster because obviously, we're on turf now, but a dirt field as opposed to a grass field. So everything is just coming at you faster. The pace of the game, the pitch calling to the time in between each pitches is condensed down. So the game definitely goes a lot quicker. And you definitely have a lot more of a cheering component to this game. Girls are a lot more vocal than the guys in terms of cheering for teammates and being loud every inning, every pitch. So much so I think I got to get my hearing tested after these 4 scrimmages because the girls have been so excited for each other. So for somebody that is over on the baseball side, like I said, we're going to have that varsity baseball, varsity softball going on. When they peek over to our side, they're going to see a lot more visible excitement because I played baseball and, there's just kind of some of the rules of baseball that don't translate over to softball. But you're going to see an exciting game. You're going to see an attack style from generally both teams that try to do a lot of hit and runs, bunt and runs, and put players in bad positions to, make plays. And that's one thing that we're focusing on as a team right now because we have a heck of a lot of team speed. So you're going to see us putting down a lot of bunts and putting teams in tough positions.
And I love that you brought up that you guys have a turf field because a lot of teams are going to be playing on dirt. They're going to come into pitch, and that's going to be an adjustment to that speed. It's going to make your bunters a little bit faster. The ball's going to move a little bit faster on that turf. Talk about what an advantage that's going to be because you get to defend on it every day. So on the defensive side, you're going to know exactly how balls react. And then on the offensive side, obviously, it's going to help out your speed players a lot.
The biggest thing is definitely how the ball hits in that outfield. And a big focus is taking angles where you could take more of a straight angle, with the grass. But the turf, it doesn't slow down. And there's been 2 times in the preseason here where outfielders just took a bad angle on the other team because they're not used to it. And what would have been probably a single stretched into a double and a triple. In addition, with the speed that we're able to run on, and we've been really focusing on base running, is we're able to take advantage of some extra bases, and we know how to slide, and so we don't go past the bag and things like that. And again, that small ball game, yesterday there was one missed throw on a bunt that the other team did, that Glen Oak did, and it turned into an in-the-park home run on a throwing error there because the ball just went directly to back right field fence, and they just weren't able to get it in time before we came around the bases and scored. So being on a turf field and having the only turf field in the area is definitely a huge advantage to us. And, I'm pleased to say that I believe it's in the works that we will be able to hold the district title games here.
Steve Ward,
we would be the host site.
Steve Ward, the head softball coach at Austintown Fitch. Well, on the flip side, when you guys are playing away from Austintown, there's a 99.9% chance you'll wind up on a dirt field. Do you have a complex or a dirt field that you can practice on when your team is going to play one or two games on the road?
I have to shout out our school system again, our athletic director. We are able to keep the 9/11 Memorial Field that is across the street from our middle school. That was our originally JV field. So our JVs will play on there, but when we need to practice on there, so there are, it actually works out well that in our AAC games that we play on Monday, we're going to be able to practice Sunday on dirt. And so we'll be able to have those adjustments going, and we're not going to go into games cold, so to speak, from turf to dirt without having some type of practice. So we're, again, softball is definitely on the rise here at Fitch High School. We've been knocking on the door for a while. We, won the AAC title the previous year that we were allowed to play, and that was our first league title in 19 years. So Fitch softball is going to be here to stay for years to come, and what we're building here between the weight room, between our facilities, between these girls' work ethics, it's going to be something special for a lot of years to come.
We know all too well that the head coach is nothing without a great staff, so I want to give you the time to kind of highlight your coaching staff and the people that you have as kind of a support system to make Fitch softball what it is.
First off, we have Nicole Fiddler, who has come onto our staff, and this is kind of her redshirt coaching year as well because she would have been new to our staff, but she's definitely not new to softball. Anybody in the softball area knows the A family. They are just the predominant family in Boardman that has just graduated a number of people playing softball, has done a lot for community softball in Boardman, and we're fortunate to have her and bring her experience, along with her travel experience with the Honey Badgers, onto our program. Our pitching coach, Becky Spalding, which is Lydia's mother, just does a wonderful job picking apart the games and pushing the pitchers, all of them, to just become a better version of themselves and to extend their knowledge of the game, to understand the why aspect of why things are being called and what to look for. So these girls could eventually become their own pitch callers, their own players, and understand how to dissect batters. Our hitting coach, Bob Jones, I've been with him since, probably about 2007. We've been together. And he's a product of kind of Jim Devine hitting theory. His daughter went through there, and he just always learned from Jim during the lessons and has kind of taken that style and philosophy and implemented it here. Going through that, very lucky to have JV coaches. We have one volunteer in Rich Raymer who just loves Fitch softball so much. His daughter came through, and now he just volunteers because he loves being part of the program. And then our head JV coach, Jerry Bruff, does an amazing job of getting girls ready to come up to the varsity level. So, having that many coaches, that many people involved, and all of our focus is on improving the girls and improving this program, I'm very fortunate. I know that I'm blessed here as a coach with everything that I have available to me.
Steve Ward, the head softball coach at Austintown, we certainly want to wish you the best of luck. Things are trending upward in a big, big way for Austintown Fitch. And I know Anthony and I are looking forward to seeing the new turf complex for the softball field. The baseball field, that was an awful lot of fun getting an opportunity to umpire a few games on that surface at Fitch. I'll be really fortunate and ready to watch you guys play on the softball complex. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I appreciate that. We start Saturday at 1 o'clock against LeBray. Before that, we have our alumni ceremony going on. And we created an alumni group, and we're going to honor all of our past alumni that are going to come down. We were hoping to have somewhere around 50 to 65 alumni, including from the original 1982 team. And then we're going to have pitcher Wendy Perryman and catcher Cammie Kessler, who were the pitcher-catcher combo for the state runner-up team throughout the first pitch that day. So we're expecting a big crowd and a lot of fun on Saturday, and, we're going to come out ready to play.
Hey, Coach, all the best to you, and good luck this year with Austintown Fitch.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on.
You are so very welcome. There he goes, the head softball coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons, Steve Ward, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. While that was going on, let me break some bad news to folks in the American League Central Division that happen to be Chicago White Sox fans. I don't know if you saw the play yesterday in which Eloy Jimenez went and tried to rob someone of a home run, went up to the fence, jumped, and tried to stick his hand over the fence. He wound up tearing his left pectoral tendon. He is out 5 to 6 months.
Oof.
That is a really horrible blow to the Chicago White Sox.
You can't really tell especially young players, hey, dial it down a little bit. But in spring training, in hindsight, you're thinking, you already have a roster spot. Why are you going for that catch in spring training? I mean, I know the competitor in you just dies, and you just have to do it. But hindsight's 20/20 sometimes, and you're just, I'm sure the coaches are thinking, dang, I wish he wouldn't have gone for that.
Yeah, he's right-handed, so the glove is on the left hand, and that's where he ruptured his left pectoral tendon trying to rob someone of a home run as he stuck his hand over the fence, and he tore his pectoral tendon by doing that. He's going to miss most, if not all, of the season. I mean, that's 5 to 6 months. Season starts in April, May, June, July, August, September. You're done. You're done. That's a bad loss for the White Sox. That is a horrible loss for the White Sox. I don't know if they have someone that can replace his bat in the lineup.
It's a turn of fortune for everyone else in the Central, though.
Kind of makes my 85 wins look a little good. I'm just saying.
I don't know about that.
I'm not saying that they're going to get there based on that, but I'm just saying that certainly doesn't make things worse for the Indians.
The Indians are going to play well against the Twins and White Sox. But they're going to do what Indians usually do, and they're going to struggle against the Tigers and Royals.
They never struggle against the Tigers. They've killed Detroit. Kansas City's the team that makes us horrible.
But usually when the White Sox aren't good, they struggle against the White Sox. So the Tigers are just going to take the White Sox spot, essentially.
I hope not. Although
because
the Indians have abused Detroit for the last 5 years, and I'm wondering
what was that streak that came to an end? It was like 24 in a row against Detroit.
I'm wondering when that's going to come to an end, because it's going to.
Things happen in cycles.
It does, because Detroit owned Cleveland
for a while
when the Tigers were a really good team. They owned Cleveland.
They owned the whole division.
Well, that's true.
They won it 3 or 4 years in a row.
The team that Cleveland's had troubles with is your Royals. And with Santana in that lineup, Kansas City's going to be a fun team to watch.
I hope so.
Yeah, if they get any kind of pitching, they could be.
Whit Merrifield.
Well, he's good.
He's good.
He's the best player that no one's ever heard of.
That's true.
He's good. He's a solid player. All right, coming up at the bottom of the hour, Fred Moots from Boardman is going to be dialing us up on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline.
And he's going to have to play Austintown Fitch
twice,
and we're gonna have to just have a little fun with Moots and ask him about that matchup. And both teams are really good. I wouldn't be surprised if they split.
Wow, who's all in that division? Harding,
Howland,
Boardman, Fitch, Howland, Canfield.
That's it. 5.
That's it. All right. So you're 8 title games or 8 conference games, and then 14 or 15 and non-conference.
No disrespect to the other, but I think it's going to come down to Boardman and Fitch in softball.
But probably will. It probably will. Although Canfield's
decent, but then once again, this is a hard season to predict because even Steve Ward said it. We have two players that really played last year.
I don't know.
He's got two consistent letter winners on his team. And a lot of teams are going to be like that.
I don't think anybody can predict what's going to happen because
the only thing I can predict is that Champion's going to be really good and win the MVP.
Well, yeah, I mean that's one of those. In other news, the sun rose from the east this morning because Champion is champion. That's look, Cheryl Weaver. I've said it many, many times, and I'll say it again. If she is not the greatest, regardless of sport, the greatest coach in the Mahoning Valley, I don't know who is. As far as winning hardware.
6 state championships, and she's 6 for 6. I don't think she's ever lost a state championship game.
Don Butchie won multiple state championships for Cardinal Mooney during his tenure as the head coach there.
And there were some years where before the state had a really state, like Mooney probably could have gotten into the playoffs and could have probably won a state championship if the format was right. Because they had years in the 70s and 80s that my dad was a part of. That that team was...
Well, yeah, because they only took the top 2 teams in each region until 1984 or 83.
When Bell was their running back, they probably could have won some stuff.
Well, they won a state title in the early 70s when Bell was... Okay. I think it was his senior year. When Ted Bell was a senior, they beat Warren Western Reserve, if I'm not mistaken, 30,000 people in the Rubber Bowl. They beat him 14-3.
Unfortunate that he got hurt in Michigan State.
Oh my God!
Like on one of the first plays, they just put a little sweep play. I think the way my dad tells it, and he just got undercut.
Yeah, I'm too young to remember Ted Bell, but everyone who I talk with that has seen or saw him play and has seen all the other great running backs in the great history of high school football around here, they swear Ted Bell is the best running back to ever come out of this area. And that's saying something because Maurice Claret was really good.
They're different. Maurice Claret was shifty and small and fast. Yeah. Ted Bell was a steam truck that would bowl you over.
L.J. Scott was a really good running back.
Towards the Maurice Claret's build, though, shifty.
Devion Smith was a really, really good running back. And
it makes it, when was the last time we saw a really good running back that was that kind of style, that like the, 6'3", you're just going to bust you over because you're not tackling him. A lot of the good running backs that come out of the area now are the ones that are super shifty, really quick.
Oh, yeah.
That's the game has changed. You have to be like that to be a good running back nowadays.
LJ ran some people over when he needed to.
His game was built on his agility and his ability to change direction.
And Maurice Claret could run people over, but he was...
Not saying that he couldn't. Like, even Keith Teague, who had that great stretch at Ursuline.
Yeah.
He could put his shoulder down and knock
but they were more speed, shiftiness.
But you're not going to run them on, 3rd and 1. Like, we need a yard, and we need just a hard-fought yard. You'd probably bring in a fullback for that.
Look, there's a lot of great running backs in the area, but those that saw Ted Bell play, they swear Ted Bell's the best running back they ever saw.
We never got to see it,
That's fine. That's good enough for me, because I go, and I've never saw Jim Brown play, but I go by highlights. Jim Brown's the best running back I've ever seen. As far as the highlight packages and whatnot, oh my God!
Maybe we can dive in and get some Ted Bell film. We can show you some highlights.
I'd love to see it. I
dive into the record books.
I would have loved to have seen him play, because everyone that saw him play, they swear he's the best running back they ever saw. So.
And unfortunately, he just got hurt in Michigan State. We never really got to see what his career would have been.
Yeah. And truth be told, Claret never made it to the NFL.
Well, yeah.
Ted Bell never made it to the NFL. Devion Smith got a cup of coffee in the NFL. Did he? LJ was drafted but didn't stick with anyone. George Hill had the heart condition that got him away from even playing college ball because he was going to go to Pitt, and then he had a heart condition.
Claret played for the
Yeah, he played.
He played, but he didn't.
But he didn't have injury problems. He had
he had other problems. Yeah, but
he got those fixed. But unfortunately, he didn't get them fixed in time for.
And he is going to turn into the greatest ambassador for "Don't do what I did."
Oh yes.
And he can basically tell any kid that is looking to go that style.
If you ever the YouTube his public speeches that he's had in the last couple he's a great speaker.
And he knows of where he came from and all the pitfalls that he sadly fell into, but he's a great motivational
Michael Vick
speaker.
is another great guy.
Absolutely, he is.
Went through a bunch, made some really bad decisions.
Yep.
Came out the other way.
Yeah.
And now he his public speaking skills and everything. He's just
Chris Carter's another one that's the folks that you unfortunately had all kinds of problems. Now they're speaking on don't go into the areas that I went into. Here's a guy that's got a lot of areas on his team. He would be the head softball coach of the Boardman Spartans. Friend of the show, Fred Moots, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. It has been far too long, my good man. How are you?
Good, Ronnie. How are you guys?
I'm good. I'm good. Not as good as your Boardman team, though, from what I understand. Let's talk some Spartan softball. Anthony and I have been banging this drum. The fact that the last time we had high school spring sports was 2019. The last time we saw a team, your sophomores and freshmen are now seniors and juniors. It's next to impossible to try to evaluate what you have, given the fact that unless your sophomores and your sophomores and freshmen 2 years ago made a major part of your team, it's damn near impossible to figure out what you have coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, my which is now junior class, which was a freshman class then, they really did make a big impact early on. I started 3 freshmen in 2019. We played 4. Actually 5, 1 transferred out. She's now at Lakeview, but we were young. We were young on the field. We were young in the circle. This class is now juniors. I have 9 on the roster, on the varsity roster. I have 3 seniors, and I have actually 1 freshman. So, this team is they had 1 year under their belt. We went 20-8 in that year, 8-2 in the league. They are seasoned, but missing last year was real tough. There were high hopes of having another great season, another great run, but unfortunately, obviously everyone was in the same boat. So, again, they had that varsity experience early on for a few of them. Some of them haven't. So, that's where we're at right now.
All that being said, how important has this scrimmage season been for you guys to kind of see exactly what you got and see who's bringing it this year and kind of evaluate the roster that is, it doesn't look nearly the same as it did in 2019?
Well, it's huge. And the fact that we're playing really competitive teams. We play tonight. We play at 5 o'clock. We play Massillon Jackson. So, I told my athletic director when we put the schedule together in 2019 that, we wanted a tough competitive schedule. My first year, we won 20 games, but, losing in the district isn't what our goal is. So we played a tough game. We lose a 2-0 game to a, really good Hudson team, one of the better teams in the state you're going to see. But ultimately, we want to be more seasoned come tournament time. It's easy to win as a coach over the years. I shouldn't say easy, but there are coaches, and no offense, they play these schedules that aren't so tough, and they win 100, 200, 500 games. I'm not in it for that. I'm here to win a state title, and ultimately my record won't matter much if we compete against these perennial powerhouses that we're playing on my schedule this year. That's what I want. I want us to be ready come tournament time. Even like I said, our scrimmages, we scrimmage Willoughby South, we Highland Medina, even though Crestview is a lower level team, they're a great team. They got great pitching. They got great hitting. They're coached well. And then tonight we're scrimmaging Massillon Jackson. And on Monday we open up against perennial powerhouse Walsh Jesuit. So ultimately, this is what I wanted for my girls, my team. This is what our goal is. That's what we set out when I took the job 2 years ago. It was to not only change the culture here at Boardman. My daughter graduated the year before. She's up at Geneva now playing. And it just, the culture, it had to change. There was really just that winning mentality wasn't there. And, and I wanted to bring that back and hopefully get this program going the right way.
Fred Moots, the head softball coach of the Boardman Spartans, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I'm a big fan of playing a rugged non-conference schedule, getting you ready for the tournament. So you made mention some of the teams that you're going to be scrimmaging against. I'm curious, give me some of those rugged teams, non-conference teams on your schedule. I'm curious who you're playing.
Well, like I said, Monday, Walsh Jesuit. We go to Twinsburg. We have Aurora. We have Louisville. We have Champion. We play Poland, Chardon, to name a few, South Range. So Canton Hoover. So, again, a lot of really, really good teams, a lot of winning pedigree on this list. Obviously, we were going to play Louisville and Cardinal Mooney, we do play Cardinal Mooney this year as well, but we were going to play Champion last year, and, you're talking both teams coming off state titles. So we were going to play not only two state champions, but also state semifinalists twice in Poland. So, ultimately last year, again, the same type of schedule, but these teams are coming off of a year where they won it all. So, again, all these teams are going to be good. West Branch, we play them. Again, obviously have been storied over the last few years. And then, obviously, again, you look inside my conference. Up the road, you got Canfield, but ultimately, the top dog right now is Austintown Fish. They won the league my first year. We split with them during the year, but we unfortunately we gave back a game, my first game ever. We lose a 7-1 lead late against Canfield, and ultimately it cost us a share of the conference. So, all due respect to Coach Ward over there and that team. And, again, I'm not going to sleep on any team in my conference. Coach Angelo over at Canfield will have that team ready to roll. Howland will be a much improved team. So, again, tough in conference, but, again, ultimately out of conference is where you really want to, set your team up with, tough competition.
And go over some of the leaders that you have and some of the people that you're really going to lean on this year, because we can't say it enough. It's going to be a strange year where these players haven't been in a Boardman uniform since 2019. So talk about some of your leaders that are going to be leaned on this year.
Right. It starts with my three seniors. Last year I would have had one, and Lauren Mon, and she was a great one. She was a catcher, a great kid. So ultimately, it sucked that unfortunately she lost that year. Obviously, everyone, not just her. But this year I got three. I got three great ones. Morgan Cherney, who's my catcher this year. Catherine O'Horo, who is going to pitch for me and play some infield, and Nina Scavelli. All three seniors are all great leaders. They're all vocal leaders. Not sometimes you don't get, maybe you'll get one, maybe you won't get that many, but. My junior class as well. I have several that are, again, that come out, compete hard every day. This class, this group here, I can't say enough about. I've been blessed. Taking over this job is one thing, and trying to change things in the right direction. But ultimately, these girls make my life a lot easier when they come and they compete and they play really hard, and they are the consummate teammates. And, I ask them every day, I tell them three things, good attitude, work hard for me, and be a great teammate. Even if you're not playing, the best teammates are the ones sitting in there at times, because you never know when you're going to get your shot. So, ultimately, this group is great. And, it starts in my circle with, my junior this year, who was a freshman at the time, Madison Lester. Her freshman year, she was unbelievable. She went 12-3. She had 151 strikeouts, batted over 400. And this kid just is just workmanlike. She goes out, she does the little things. She doesn't get rattled in the circle, no matter what. I mean, we played Poland twice. The first time we played them, she didn't pitch. Second time, she did. We were an out away from being the only team to beat Poland before they lost in the state semis, and unfortunately, we didn't get it done. But she grew up a lot in that game, and down the stretch of the season last year, she was unbelievable. We get to the district game, and I didn't coach my best game. We left I think 8 or 9 runners on base. We lose a 2-0 game. So I got to coach better. But I told these girls, when we get in this situation again, which I was hoping would have been last year, we're going to win that game. So, I got other girls who were also letter winners that year, their freshman year. And Jenna Alexa, just a dynamic shortstop. Another one, vocal leader, is an absolute captain on the field, great hitter. Dana Hoff, who was also a letter winner. And both these girls, Jenna Alexa was a first-team All-Leaguer, and so was Madison, and Dana a second-teamer. And, I get, like I said, a bunch of role players in Nadia Rawana and Jenna Maddock and Cassie Bryan and Sophia Hoffman. You can go down the list. And, these girls just all bring it every day. They work and they compete, and I can't ask for more out of a group.
Fred Moots, the head softball coach of the Boardman Spartans, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Anthony and I have talked extensively about the excitement level that softball brings. And we had Coach Ward on earlier in the show, and he had made mention that there's a big difference on the bench where you don't get as much excitement in a baseball game as you do a softball game. How jazzed up are your kids, or at least in 2019, and how jazzed do you want these kids to be on the bench encouraging their teammates this year?
Well, yeah, he's right. I mean, it's a different game. I mean, baseball compared to softball. I mean, you look at the college level. I know, Anthony, you're a big college guy and big softball guy. I shouldn't just say college, but ultimately you see them on the bench. They're chanting, they're doing their thing. Everybody thinks it's reserved for 10-year-olds in travel ball, but it's not, and it is. It's a vocal game. It's more vocal. And my girls, when they're not in, they're on the fence. They're cheering. They're the consummate teammate, and it is. It's a different animal. It's a faster game. The game, it is. Compared to baseball, you could be at a baseball game for 2.5, 3 hours. Softball is usually an hour and 15, hour and a half. You get 2 really good pitchers going at it. Sometimes it takes you longer to get to the field you're playing than it does the game. So, it's a quick game, and it is. It's a different animal than baseball, and but I love the game. My daughter's played it her whole life, and I love every sport, but ultimately softball is a passion for me. And again, you just when you get there and you get ready to play your opponent and you see the girls jazzed up, ready to go, and it's a whole different world than baseball for sure.
Yeah, and you're going to have a really good pitching staff, not just one ace in the circle, but I think you're going to have some deep pitching in the circle. Talk about how important that's going to be and how much pressure that's going to take away from your offense